I didn't sleep that night. Not because of guilt, because of adrenaline. The kind that comes when you've been backed into a corner and you finally decide to swing back, but the first thing I did at 6 a.m. was drive to the bank. Not the branch downtown. The small one on Maple Street where the tellers knew me by name. Where I'd deposited Emily's birthday checks for 18 YRS. Where I'd opened her first savings account when she was 6, her little hand clutching a $10 bill from her grandmother. I walked in. The air smelled like coffee and old paper. The fluorescent lights hummed. "Mr. Henderson," said the branch manager, a woman named Diane. "We received your request. Everything's processed." "Good. Your daughter called. Twice. She was upset." "I bet she was. Mr. Henderson, I don't usually ask personal questions. But are you sure about this? That account had her name on it. She's been using it for YRS. That account had my money in it. And she told me she didn't want my money. So I'm making it official." Diane opened her mouth, then closed it. She handed me a form. I signed it. The ink was black and permanent. "All set," she said. "One more thing. The safety deposit box. I need to add something." She led me to the vault. I opened the box and placed inside a sealed envelope. Inside that envelope was a letter. It was addressed to Emily. It said simply, "You never asked where the money came from. You never asked what I gave up. You only asked for more. This is your answer." I closed the box. I locked it. I put the key on my keychain, next to the little brass keychain that said "Best Dad Ever." I looked at it for a long moment. Then I walked out. At 9 a.m., I went to the RDWA store. I bought a new lock for the front door. I changed it myself. I put the old keys in a drawer. I wasn't locking Emily out. I was locking the memory of her in. The memory of a girl who didn't exist anymore. At 10 a.m., I got a call from my ex-wife, Linda. I almost didn't answer. We hadn't spoken in 12 YRS. The divorce was bitter and cold. She had left me for a real estate agent with a tan and a convertible. She had taken half of everything. She had taken Emily's loyalty with her. But I had fought for custody. I had won. And I had raised Emily alone. So when her name flashed on my screen, I felt something twist in my chest. "Robert." "Linda, did you really freeze Emily's accounts on her wedding day?" "You HRD about that." "Everyone HRD about that." Brad's mother called me. She was screaming. She said, "You ruined the reception." I didn't ruin anything. She did it herself. When she told me my money wasn't good enough. Silence. Then Linda said, "She's just a kid, Robert. She's 26 YRS old. You're punishing her for being honest with you." "I'm punishing her for being cruel." Linda exhaled. I could hear her lighting a cigarette. The same habit she'd had since we were 20. "You always did this. Made everything about your pride. The Wari house. Your father's truck. That stupid tree house you built. It was always about proving something. Because I had to prove something. Every single day. I had to prove I wasn't like my father. I had to prove I could raise her without you. I had to prove I could provide. And you did. You proved it. So why are you taking it all back now?" I looked out the window. The neighbor was mowing his lawn. The sky was clear. It was a beautiful day. And I had never felt more alone. "Because," I said slowly, "for the first time in my life, I'm not proving anything. I'm just doing what's right." Linda laughed. It was a RSH, bitter sound. "Right? You're doing what's right. You're punishing your daughter because she hurt your feelings. That's not right, Robert. That's revenge." "You're right," I said. "Maybe it is revenge. But it's also justice. She took everything I gave her, and she threw it away. Not because it was bad. Because it wasn't shiny enough. She chose them. She chose his family. She chose his money. And that's fine. She has every right to choose. But she doesn't have the right to keep mine." Linda was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You know what your problem is? You think love is transactional. You give something, you expect something back. That's not love. That's a business deal." "No," I said. "That's not what I think. What I think is that love is respect." And she disrespected everything I sacrificed. She disrespected the fact that I gave her everything I had. And she did it with a smile. She did it in front of his family. She did it on the phone like she was canceling a dinner reservation. I hung up before she could answer. At 11 a.m., I drove to the storage unit, the one where Emily had kept her things after college. I had paid the rent on it for 3 YRS. I had never once asked her to reimburse me. I walked in. The unit was full of boxes. Boxes of her old clothes, her textbooks, her childhood drawings, the little things she didn't want in her APA mint, but couldn't throw away. I opened one box. Inside were photographs. Photos of her and me at the county fair. Her holding a stuffed bear I'd won for her. Her face lit up with joy. I closed the box. I couldn't look at it. Not yet. Instead, I pulled out a folder. Inside were receipts. The laptop. The furniture. The car. I put it all in a bag and walked out. At 12 p.m., I arrived at the lawyer's office. My lawyer, Arthur Klein, was a small man with thick glasses and a permanent expression of concern. He had been my lawyer for 20 years. He had handled my divorce. He had handled my will. He had handled everything. Robert, he said, I've reviewed everything. The joint account is frozen. The investment account is transferred. The car is flagged for repossession. But the engagement ring, that's going to be how Ryder. H.A. Ryder how? Because she's we ring it. And under the law, a gift is a gift. You gave it to her. You can't take it back just because you changed your mind. I didn't give it to her. I gave her half the money to buy it. Brad's family was between accounts. They couldn't cover the deposit. I did. I have the receipt. I have the credit card statement. I have the text message where she asked me to transfer the money to the jewelry store. That's not a gift. That's a loan. Arthur adjusted his glasses. You might be able to argue that, but it's going to be a fight. I don't see Robert, Arthur, I'm done fighting for other people. I'm done fighting to be loved. I'm done fighting to be respected. I'm just going to fight for myself. For once. Arthur sighed. He pulled out a document. I've drafted a demand letter. It asks for the return of all gifts and loans in the amount of, he squinted at the number, $87,432 Make it $87,500. Excuse me, add 53 cents. For the chocolate milkshake I bought her every Friday after school for 7 years. Every single one. I want it back. Arthur read at me. You're joking. I've never been more serious. He shook his head, but made the change. Fine. I'll send it certified. She'll receive it by tomorrow morning. Good. And Robert, one more thing. Your will. You said you wanted to make changes. I already changed it. She gets nothing. Not the house. Not the truck. Not the safe. Not a single photograph. Not a single memory. Nothing. Arthur nodded slowly. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my entire life. At 2 p.m., I went to the diner again. I ordered a grilled cheese and a cup of coffee. Maria, the waitress, smiled at me. You're back, she said. Told you. Best coffee in town. She laughed. You're a funny man, Mr. Henderson. I'm a tired man, Maria. There's a difference. She sat down across from me. She wasn't supposed to. It was against the rules. But she did it anyway. I heard about your daughter, she said quietly. The wedding. The Cholet ship. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone, this is a small town. News travels. I took a bite of my sandwich. I'm not ashamed of what I did. You shouldn't be. She's your daughter. You raised her. You provided for her. And she treated you like you were nothing. That's wrong. I looked at her. How old are you, Maria? 22. Have you ever had to choose between your family and something else? She paused. Yes. My mother wanted me to marry a man I didn't love. She said it would be good for the family. But I said no. I left. And did she forgive you? She told me I was dead to her. But she still calls every Sunday. She still sends me cards on my birthday. She still loves me. She just doesn't know how to show it. I finished my coffee. That's the thing about parents, I said. We love our children even when we shouldn't. Even when they don't deserve it. It's not a choice. It's a curse. Maria looked at me with something like pity. Do you still love her? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know anymore. At 4 p.m., I drove to the park, the one where I used to take Emily to fly kites. The grass was yellow and dry. The sky was wide and blue. I sat on a bench and watched a father push his daughter on the swings. She was laughing. She was shrieking with joy. I watched them for a long time. Then I got up and walked home. At 6 p.m., I called the community college. Dean Patterson answered on the second ring. Mr. Henderson, I was just thinking about you. I need the Cholet ship recipients. I want their names by Friday. Of course. We've already received several applications. I'll forward them to you. And one more thing. Yes, I want the ceremony to be public. I want a plaque. I want it in the lobby. I want everyone to see it. Dean Patterson paused. A plaque, yes. With their names. And mine. And the date. And I wanted to say, established in honor of the future, not the past. That's unusual, but I don't see a re if it's unusual. I want it. All right, Mr. Henderson. I'll make the arrangements. I hung up. Then I sat in my kitchen, in the RK, with the phone in my hand. And I thought about the irony of it all. I had spent 26 Rs giving Emily everything. And now I was going to spend the next 26 Rs giving it to strangers. People I would never meet. People who would never know my name. But they would know my money. And they would use it well. Better than she ever did. At 8 p.m., the doorbell rang. I opened it. Standing on my porch was Emily. Her face was red and puffy. Her eyes were swollen. Her dress was casual, jeans and a t-shirt. She looked like she hadn't slept. She looked like she'd been crying for hours as she held up her hand. The engagement ring was missing. Dad, she said. I want to talk. I stepped aside and let her in. She walked into the living room. She looked around. At the photos. At the furniture. At the same faded crayon drawing on the wall. She read at it. You kept that? She whispered. You drew it. I said. She turned to face me. Her face was a mess of TRS and anger. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you punishing me? You gave me that money. It was mine. You had no right to take it back. I sat down on the couch. I looked at her. Not with anger. Not with sadness. With something else. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. Acceptance. Emily, I said. I raised you alone. I worked double shifts. I missed your school plays. I missed your birthdays. I sacrificed everything. And I didn't complain. Not once. Because I wanted you to have a better life than I had. I wanted you to have things I never did. She crossed her arms. So when you told me my money wasn't good enough, something broke inside me. Not because of the money, but because of what it meant. It meant you didn't appreciate the sacrifices. It meant you didn't value the Rs I gave up. It meant you looked at everything I did for you, and you thought, not enough. I didn't mean it that way. Yes, you did. You meant every word. Because you said it to my face. You said it on the phone. You said it to your fiancé. You said it loud and clear. She sat down on the opposite chair. She looked small. Smaller than I remembered. Her shoulders were slumped. Her hands were shaking. Brad's family doesn't want me there, she said. They say I'm tainted. They say I'm drama. He says he still loves me, but, her voice cracked. But I don't know if I believe him. Then maybe you shouldn't marry him. Dad, I can't go back. I can't start over. I don't have anything. I don't have you. I don't have them. I don't have the money. I don't have the car. I don't have the ring. I have nothing. I leaned four-way road. You have yourself. She laughed. It was a hollow, broken sound. That's not a plan. That's not a future. No, I said. It's a beginning. But it's one you'll have to build yourself. Because I've already built mine. And I'm done building yours. She looked at me. Her eyes were wet. Her lips trembled. You really mean it, she said. I really do. She stood up. She walked to the door. She paused with her hand on the handle. I'm sorry, she said. I don't know if that matters. But I'm sorry. I didn't answer. She opened the door and walked out. And I sat there, alone, in the living room, in the house I had built with my own hands. And I thought about everything she had said. Everything she hadn't said. She had said, I'm sorry. But she hadn't said, I understand. And that was the difference. 听好信号，中文翻译。信号信号，那夜我没睡，不是因为内疚，是因为身上享受。那种当你被逼到墙角中，一定放弃时才会有的感觉。我早上6点做的第一件事就是开车去银行，不是去分行，是风速街上那家下分行，那里的人都知道我的名字。我在那里存了18英里的生日支票，那里是我在他6岁时给他开了第一个去世账户的地方。他的小手装着给的10元钞票。走进去，空气弥漫着咖啡和酒之酱的味道。阳光映闪着亨德森先生，分行经理Dan so，我们收到了您的请求，一切都已经处理好了。好的，您女儿打了电话2次，她很不高兴。我猜也是。亨德森先生，我通常不会问私人问题，但您确定要这么做吗？那个账户上有他的名字，他已经用了好几年了。那个账户里是我的钱， 而他告诉我他不想要我的钱，所以我把它变成正式的了。戴安张了张嘴，又闭上了。他递给我一张表格，我签了字，墨水是黑色的，永久的，都办好了。他说还有一件事，那个保险箱，我需要再加点东西。他带我去金库，我打开保险箱，放了一个密封的信封进去，信封里有一封信，收信人是艾米丽，上面只写着：幸好你从没问过那些钱是从哪来的，你从没问过我放弃了什么，你只要求更多，这就是给你的答案。幸好。我关上保险箱，锁好，我把钥匙挂回钥匙圈上，挨着那个小铜钥匙圈，上面写着最棒的老爸。我看了他很久，然后走了出去。上午9点，我去了五金店，我买了一把前门的新锁，我自己换上了。我把这钥匙扔进抽屉里，我不是要把艾米丽锁在外面，我是要把关于她的记忆锁在里面，那个已经不复存在的女孩的记忆。上午10点，我接到前妻琳达的电话，我差点没接，我们已经12年没说过话了，离婚是苦涩而冰冷的。他为了一个皮肤晒成古铜色、开着敞篷车的房地产经纪人离开了我。他拿走了一半财产，他也带走了艾米丽的忠诚。但我争取到了监护权，我赢了。我一个人把艾米丽养大。所以，当他的名字出现在屏幕上时，我胸口有什么东西在翻搅。罗伯特，琳达，你真的在艾米丽婚礼那天冻结了她的账户？你听说了啊？所有人都听说了。布拉德的妈妈给我打了电话，她在大叫，她说你毁了婚宴。我什么都没毁，是她自己毁的。当她告诉我我的钱不够好的时候，沉默。然后琳达说，他还是个孩子，罗伯特，他已经26岁了。你是在惩罚他对你说实话，我是在惩罚他的残忍。琳达呼了口气，我能听到他点烟的声音，那是他从20岁起就有的习惯。你总是这样，把所有事都变成关于你的自尊。那个仓库，你父亲的卡车，你建的那个蠢树屋，永远都是为了证明什么？因为我必须证明什么？每一天都必须。我必须证明我不像我父亲。我必须证明没有你我也可以把他养大。我必须证明我养得起他。你做到了，你证明过了，那你为什么现在要全部拿回去？我望向窗外，邻居正在修剪草坪，天空很晴朗，是个美好的日子，而我从没感到过如此孤独，因为我慢慢地说，我这辈子第一次不再需要证明任何东西了，我只是在做正确的事。琳达笑了，那是一种刺耳、苦涩的声音。正确，你在做正确的事，你在惩罚你女儿，因为她伤了你的感情。那不是正确的事，罗伯特，那是报复。你说的对，我说，也许确实是报复，但也是正义。他拿走了我给的一切，然后把它扔掉，不是因为那些东西不好，是因为它们不够光鲜。他选择了他们，他选择了他家，他选择了他的钱。那很好，他有权选择，但他无权留着我的东西。琳达沉默了很久，然后她说，你知道你的问题是什么吗？你觉得爱是交易，你给了什么，就期望得到什么。那不是爱，那是生意。不，我说，那不是我的想法。我的想法是，爱是尊重，而他羞辱了我牺牲的一切。他羞辱了我把一切都给了他这个事实，而且他是笑着做的，是在他家人面前做的，是在电话里做的，像取消晚餐预定一样。我在他回答之前挂了电话。上午11点，我开车去储物柜，艾米丽大学毕业后存放东西的地方。我付了3年的租金，一次都没让他还过。我走进去，柜子里塞满了箱子，箱子装着他旧衣服、他的教科书、他的童年画作，那些他不想放在公寓里但又舍不得扔的小东西。我打开一个箱子，里面是照片，他和我去县集市的照片，他抱着我给他迎来的玩具熊，脸上洋溢着快乐。我关上箱子，我还不能看他，还不是时候。我拿出一个文件夹，里面是收据、笔记本电脑、家具、车。我把所有东西装进一个袋子里，走了出去。 中午12点，我到了律师事务所。我的律师阿瑟·克莱恩是个戴着厚眼镜、永远带着关切表情的小个子男人。他当我的律师20年了。他处理过我的离婚，处理过我的遗嘱，处理过一切。罗伯特，他说，我已经审阅了所有文件，联名账户已冻结，投资账户已转账，车子已标记收回，但那枚订婚戒指会比较难办。怎么难办？因为他正戴着它，而根据法律，赠与就是赠与，你给了他，就不能因为改变主意就拿回来。我没给他，我给他一半的钱去买它。布拉德的家人当时账户周转不过来，他们付不起定金，我付的。我有收据，我有信用卡账单，我有他求我把钱转到珠宝店的短信。那不是赠与，那是借款。阿瑟推了推眼镜，你或许可以争辩这点，但那会是一场官司。我不在乎。罗伯特，阿瑟，我不想再为别人奋斗了。我不想再为被爱而奋斗。我不想再为被尊重而奋斗。我只会为自己奋斗。就这一次。阿瑟叹了口气，他抽出一份文件，我起草了一封催告函，要求归还所有赠与和借款总额。他眯眼看那个数字，$87,432.47改成$87,500。什么？加$53。我7年里每周五放学后给他买的巧克力奶昔，每一杯，我要拿回来。阿瑟瞪着我，你在开玩笑？我从没这么认真过。他摇摇头，但改了数字。行，我会用挂号信寄出，他明天早上就能收到。好。还有，罗伯特，还有一件事，你的遗嘱，你说过要改，我已经改了。他什么都拿不到，房子没有，卡车没有，保险箱没有，一张照片都没有，一个回忆都没有，什么都没有。阿瑟慢慢点了点头。你确定？我这辈子从没这么确定过。下午2点，我再次去了那家餐馆，点了一份烤奶酪三明治和一杯咖啡。女服务员玛利亚对我微笑。你又来了，她说。我说了，前程最好的咖啡。她笑了。你是个有趣的人，亨德森先生。我是个累坏了的人，玛利亚。这两者有区别。他坐在我对面，他本不该做的，这是违反规定的，但他还是做了。我听说你女儿的事了，他轻声说。婚礼，奖学金，大家都在谈论。所有人。这是个小镇，消息传得快。我咬了一口三明治，我不为我做的事感到羞耻。你不该羞耻，她是你的女儿，你把她养大，你供养她，而她把你当成了什么都不是，那是错的。我看着她，你多大了，玛利亚？22。你曾经需要在你的家人和别的东西之间做选择吗？她顿了一下，有。我妈妈想让我嫁给我不爱的人，她说这对家庭好，但我拒绝了。我离开了。她原谅你了吗？她说我死了，但她还是每周日打电话，她还是会在我生日时寄卡片，她还是爱我，她只是不知道怎么表达。我喝完了咖啡。父母就是这样，我说，我们爱我们的孩子，即使我们不该爱，即使他们不配。那不是选择，那是诅咒。玛利亚带着某种近似怜悯的神情看着我。你还爱他吗？我没有回答，因为我自己也不知道了。下午4点，我开车去了那个公园，那个我过去常带艾米丽去放风筝的公园。草坪枯黄干燥，天空宽阔蔚蓝。我坐在长椅上，看着一个父亲推着他女儿荡秋千，他在笑，他在快乐的尖叫。我看了他们很久，然后我站起来走回家了。下午6点，我给社区学院打了电话，帕特森院长第2声就接了。亨德森先生， 我正想到你。我需要奖学金获得者，周五之前给我名单。当然，我们已经收到几份申请了，我会转给你。还有一件事。什么？我要颁奖典礼公开，我要一块纪念牌，放在大厅里，让所有人都看到。帕特森院长顿了一下，纪念牌。是的，上面有他们的名字，还有我的，还有日期。我要上面写着为未来而设，而非为过去。这不寻常，但是我不在乎是否不寻常，我就是要。好的，亨德森先生，我会安排。但他们会知道我的钱，他们会好好用它，比它好得多。晚上8点，门铃响了。我扒开门，站在门廊上的赤艾米丽，她的脸又红又肿，眼睛哭得通红。她穿着休闲便服、牛仔裤和 T 恤，她看起来像没睡过觉，像哭了好几个小时。她举起手，订婚戒指不见。爸，他说，我想摊开。我让开身，让他进来了。他走进客厅，四处环顾，看着照片，看着家具，看着墙上那张褪色的蜡笔画。他盯着他，你还留着这个？他低声说，你画的。我说，他转过身来面对我，他的脸上满是泪水和愤怒。你为什么要这样对我？你为什么要惩罚我？你给我的那些钱，那是我的，你没权利拿回去。我坐在沙发上，我看着他，不是带着愤怒，不是带着悲伤，而是带着别的什么，一种我很久没感受过的东西。接受，艾米丽，我说，我一个人把你养大，我做双班导，我错过了你的学校演出，我错过了你的生日，我牺牲了一切，而我从来没抱怨过，一次都没有。因为我想让你比我有更好的生活，我想让你拥有我从未有过的东西。他交叉双臂，所以呢？所以当你告诉我我的钱不够好的时候，我内心有什么东西碎了？不是因为钱，而是因为那意味着什么？那意味着你不感激那些牺牲，那意味着你不珍惜我舍弃的那些年，那意味着你看着我为你做的一切，心里想，星号不够，星号，我不是那个意思，你是，你说的每个字都是那个意思，因为你当着我的面说的，你在电话里说的，你对你的未婚夫说的，你清清楚楚地说过。他坐在对面的椅子上，他看起来很渺小，比我记忆中的小，他的肩膀耷拉着，他的手在颤抖。布拉德的家人不让我去那里了，他说。他们说我有污点，他们说我是麻烦。他说他还爱我，但是他的声音哽咽了。但我不确定我信不信他。那也许你不该嫁给他。爸，我回不去了，我无法重新开始，我什么都没有了。我没有你，我没有他们，我没有钱，我没有车，我没有戒指，我什么都没有了。我身体前倾，你还有你自己。他笑了，那是一种空洞、破碎的声音，那不是计划，那不是未来。不，我说，那是一个开始，但那是你必须自己建立的开始，因为我已经建立了我的，而我不会再帮你建了。他看着我，他的眼睛湿润了，他的嘴唇颤抖着。你是认真的？他说，我是认真的。他站起来，他走向门口。他手握着门把停了片刻。对不起，他说，我不知道那有没有用，但我很抱歉。我没有回答。他打开门，走了出去，而我坐在那里，独自一人，在客厅里，在我亲手建造的房子里。我想着他说的每一句话，他没说的每一句话。他说了，对不起，但他没说，我理解。那就是区别。Xinghao Chapter 4. The unraveling ***. 3 weeks passed that I didn't see Emily. I didn't call her. She didn't call me. The silence between us was thick and heavy, like the air before a storm. I woke up every morning, made my coffee, and went to work. Not at the Wari house. I had quit that job the day after the wedding. I had enough money. I had enough time. And I had enough of breaking my back for people who didn't see a re. ISTA route volunteering at the community college. I sat in the admissions office and read applications. I looked at transcripts. I read essays about dreams and struggles and how RD work. I read about parents who had sacrificed, about students who had overcome, about young people who knew the value of a dollar, or because they had rened every single one. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. On the third Thursday, I met the first scholarship recipient. Her name was Tanya Rodriguez. She was 19 years old. She was the daughter of a janitor and a waitress. She had worked 40 hours a week at a grocery store while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. She wanted to be a teacher. She wanted to give back to her community. She wrote about her father's hands, calloused, cracked, beautiful hands that held mops and brooms and still found time to hold her. I read her essay 3 times. I cried twice. When she walked into the office, she was nervous. She kept fidgeting with her necklace. She couldn't look me in the eye. Mr. Henderson, she said, I don't know how to thank you. I said, don't thank me. Just work hard. That's all I ask. She nodded. She shook my hand. Her grip was firm, strong, like someone who had CA ride a lot and wasn't afraid to CA RRY more. I watched her walk out. She was small, but she stood tall. On the 4th week, I got a call from Arthur. Robert, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Emily is contesting the freeze. She's claiming that the money in the joint account was a gift, that she had legal rights to it. Her lawyers arguing that you committed financial abuse. Financial abuse. They're painting you as a controlling father, someone who used money to manipulate his daughter. They're saying you're abusive. I laughed. It was a dry, hollow sound. I'm abusive. I gave her everything. Everything I had. I worked myself to the bone, and she threw it in my face. And I'm the abusive one. I know, Robert. But the court might not see it that way. She's young. She's white. She comes from a good family. Well, Brad's family anyway. They have connections. They have resources. They might win. Then we fight. We are refighting. But I need to war in you. This is going to get ugly. She might say things that hurt you. She might lie. She might twist the truth. Are you ready for that? I looked at the wall, at the crayon drawing, at the faded sun and the 2 stick figures. Yes, I said. I'm ready. The next week, the court date was set. It was a cold morning in late October. The leaves had turned brown and fallen. The sky was gray and flat. I wore my best suit, the one I had worn to Emily's high school graduation. It didn't fit the same. I had lost weight. A lot of weight. The days had been long, and the nights longer. I walked into the courtroom. Emily was already there. She was sitting next to Brad. He was wearing a gray suit. His tie was expensive. His shoes were shined. He looked confident, like he had won before the case, even STA route. Emily looked at me. Her face was unreadable. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. She didn't say hello. I didn't say hello. The judge walked in. Judge Miriam Cohen. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a voice like gravel. She had been on the bench for 25 years. She had seen everything. She wasn't impressed by anything. Mr. Henderson, she said. Mrs. Henderson, let's begin. The hearing lasted 4 hours. Emily's lawyer argued that the money was a gift, that I had freely given it, that I had never set any conditions, that I had no right to take it back. My lawyer argued that the money was conditional, that it was intended for her future, that she had rejected that future, that the funds were not gifts but investments, and that she had forfeited them. The judge listened. She took notes. She asked questions. She didn't smile. She didn't frown. She just listened. At the end, she said, I'll take this under advisement. I'll have a decision in 7 days. We walked out. Emily was waiting in the hallway. Dad, she said, can we talk? I have nothing to say. You have everything to say. You just won't say it. I looked at her. She looked tired. Her eyes were red. Her shoulders were slumped. Her hair was messy. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Emily, I said, I gave you everything. Every single thing I had. And you told me it wasn't enough. You told me I wasn't enough. So why are you fighting for my money if it's not enough? Why do you want it? She was quiet. Because I need it, she finally said. So do the students who got your scholarship. They need it too. But they also need something else. They need to feel like they deserved it. They need to feel like they rened it. You don't. She looked down. Brad's family is falling apart. His father lost everything in a bad investment. They're going to lose the house. They're going to lose everything. And her voice cracked. I have nothing. I don't have you. I don't have the money. I don't have anyone. You have Brad. I said as she shook her head. Brad is gone. He left me a week ago. He said I was bad luck. He said I was a curse. I didn't say anything. I know you hate me, she said. I don't blame you. I hate myself. I hate everything I did. I hate the words I said. I hate the way I treated you. And I know I can't take it back. I know I can't fix it. But I just want to know if there's any part of you that still loves me. I looked at her, and I said the rightest thing I've ever said in my life. Yes, I said. There is a part of me that still loves you. But that part is buried under 23 years of disappointment. And I don't know if I can find it again. She nodded. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just nodded. I'm going to drop the case, she said. I'm going to drop it all. I'm going to walk away. You win. I don't want to win. I just want you to RN. She walked out. And I stayed in the hallway, in the gray light, and I thought about everything I had lost. Not the money. Not the car. Not the house. The little girl you dropped it in me, and the girl gone down, and we sure to act. So, infant. 是好深奥，3个星期个钟，都没见到你，都没给他到了，都没给到了，我们之间的交流而沉重，先把非常关系，都每天早上分了，就咖啡，然后去上班，失去上课，再跟一口聊天，那份工作，得个钱，得个时间，已经是份，这个啊，开这个社区先做点着，做个招生本可以得申请手，看清得到，这个选，这这个做，读到那些都出牺牲分。那些客户学生，那些申请他的一分都是自己找了年轻人，这个收到或者这个收到东西，是吧？第3个星期是，见到是这个，他到sorry，他是个这个分量，他到你工作40个小时，同时把这个4.0个给，他申请1小时，这个给你的事情，这是到了他分了，长了老茧的、粗糙的、美丽的手，那些手握着拖把和扫帚，却仍然有时间握住它。我把他的作文读了3遍，我哭了2次。他走进办公室时很紧张，他不停地拨弄他的项链，他不敢直视我的眼睛。亨德森先生，他说，我不知道该怎么感谢你。我说，不用谢我，努力就好，这就是我要求的全部。他点了点头，他握了握我的手，他的手很有力，很坚定。像那种背过很多东西，并且不害怕背更多东西的人。我看着他走出去，他很瘦小，但他站得很挺拔。第4周，我接到阿瑟的电话，罗伯特，我们有个问题。什么问题？艾米丽在质疑冻结。她声称联名账户里的钱是赠与，她对这些钱拥有合法权利。他的律师说你犯了经济虐待罪。经济虐待，他们把你说成一个控制欲强的父亲，一个用钱操纵女儿的人。他们说你有虐待行为。我笑了，那是一种干涩空洞的笑声。我有虐待，我给了他一切，我拥有的一切，我把自己累到骨头里，而他撒在我脸上，而我是有虐待的一方。我知道。罗伯特，但法庭可能不会这么看。他年轻，他是白人，他来自一个好家庭，好吧，布拉德的家庭也算。他们有背景，有资源，他们可能赢。那我们打，我们再打，但我需要提醒你，这会变得很难看。他可能会说伤害你的话，他可能会撒谎，他可能会扭曲真相。你准备好了吗？我看着那面墙，看着那幅蜡笔画，看着褪色的太阳和2个火柴人。是的，我说，我准备好了。The decision came down on a Friday. I was at the community college, sitting in the small office they had given me, when my phone buzzed. A Arthur's name flashed on the screen that I answered. Tell me. She dropped the case. Completely. Her lawyers filed a motion to withdraw. It's over, Robert. I sat back in my chair. The fluorescent light hummed above me. ISTA read at the pile of applications on my desk. There were 23 of them. 23 young people who had written about their dreams, their struggles, their parents, their hopes. I had read every single one. I had cried over 3 of them. She's not fighting anymore, no. She signed a document relinquishing all claims to the funds. The freeze is permanent. The money is yours. I was quiet for a long moment. Robert, you still there? Yeah, I said. I'm here. Are you okay? I don't know, I said. I don't know if I'm okay. I don't know if I'll ever be okay again. But I'm still standing. And that's something. Arthur was quiet. Then he said, I'm proud of you, Robert. You did the right thing. It wasn't easy, but you did it. Thank you, Arthur. Take care of yourself. I hung up. I sat there for a long time. The office was small. The walls were beige. The window looked out onto the parking lot. I watched a student walk across the asphalt, headphones on, backpack slung over one shoulder. She was young. She was alive. She had no idea who I was or what I had been through. And I envied her. Not because she was young, but because she hadn't yet learned how cruel the world could be. How cruel the people you love could be. I stood up. I walked to the window. I pressed my hand against the glass. It was cold. The sky was gray. The leaves were gone. Winter was coming. But I wasn't afraid of winter anymore. I had survived worse. That evening, I went home. The house was quiet, the way it had been for weeks. I walked into the kitchen and opened the fridge. It was empty except for a carton of milk and a jar of pickles. I hadn't been grocery shopping in days. I hadn't been doing much of anything. I made a sandwich. I ate it standing up. I didn't taste it. Then I walked into the living room and sat down on the couch. I looked at the wall. The crayon drawing was still there. The 2 stick figures. The faded sun. The house with no windows. I read at it. And I remembered the day she drew it. It was a Tuesday. She had been 4 years old. I had just come home from the Wari house. My back was aching. My hands were cracked. I had worked a double shift because someone had called in sick. I was exhausted. I was angry. I was ready to collapse. And she ran to the door with a piece of paper in her hand. Daddy. Daddy, I made this for you. I knelt down. I picked her up. I looked at the drawing. It was messy. The lines were crooked. The colors were all wrong. But it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. This is you, she said, pointing at the tall figure. And this is me. And this is our house. And this is the sun. And it's always sunny because you make me happy. I hugged her. I held her tight. And I whispered, I'll always make you happy. I promise. I had made that promise 22 years ago. And I had kept it. Until she broke it. I sat on the couch, and I looked at that drawing, and I wondered if she remembered. If she remembered the promise. If she remembered the feeling of being held. If she remembered what it was like to be loved without conditions. And I realized something. Something I hadn't wanted to admit, that I had broken the promise to. Not because I stopped loving her, but because I had loved her the wrong way. I had given her things instead of time. I had given her money instead of attention. I had given her everything except what she really needed. She needed me to be present, to be there, to say no sometimes, to teach her that life wasn't about getting what you wanted. It was about renting what you needed. And I had failed. So I sat there in the dark, and I thought about all the ways I could have done better, all the conversations I should have had, all the boundaries I should have set, all the times I should have said, I love you. But the answer is no. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I drove to the storage unit again. I opened the door and looked at the boxes. Emily's childhood. Emily's memories. Emily's past. Route going through them. I found her baby blanket. The one with the little rabbits on it. I found her first pair of shoes. Tiny little sneakers that life fit in my hand. I found her report cards. All A's. I found her ART projects. Her science fair RDS. Her high school diploma. And I found a letter that it was in an envelope. The handwriting was hers. It was dated 3 years ago. I had never seen it before. I opened it. Dad. I know I don't say this enough. But thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for working so hard. Thank you for never giving up. Thank you for being there when Mom left. Thank you for being both parents. I know it wasn't easy. I know I wasn't always easy. But I love you. And I'm proud of you. Love. Emily. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in my pocket. She had written this 3 years ago. Before Brad. Before the money. Before the wedding. Before everything fell apart. She had loved me once. And I had loved her. But somewhere along the way, We had both forgotten. I left the storage unit and drove home. I didn't cry. I didn't feel sad. I felt something else. Something I couldn't name. It was like looking at a photograph of a place you used to live. You remember the rooms. You remember the smell. You remember the way the light came through the windows. But you know you can never go back. Not really. Not the way it was. That evening, I got a call from Tanya Rodriguez, the first Cholet recipient. Mr. Henderson, it's Tanya. Tanya, how are you? I'm good. I'm really good. I just wanted to tell you, I got accepted into the teaching program. I'm going to be a teacher. That's wonderful, Tanya. I'm so proud of you. I wanted to thank you again. I know I already said thank you, but I wanted to say it again. Because without you, I wouldn't be here. Without you, I wouldn't have this chance. And I promise you, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to be the best teacher I can be. I'm going to help kids who are like me. Kids who don't have a lot. Kids who need someone to believe in them. I closed my eyes. That's all I ever wanted, Tanya. For someone to take what I gave and use it well. I will, Mr. Henderson. I promise. Thank you, Tanya. No. Thank you. She hung up. I sat in my kitchen. The phone was in my hand. The letter from Emily was still in my pocket. And I thought about what Tanya had said. She was going to help kids who needed someone to believe in them. That was what I had tried to do for Emily. I had believed in her. I had believed in her from the moment she was born. I had believed in her when she fell off her bike. I had believed in her when she failed her first math test. I had believed in her when she got into college. I had believed in her. But she had stopped believing in herself. And that was the tragedy. Not the money. Not the wedding. Not the fight. But the loss of belief. I put the phone down. I walked to the wall. I looked at the crayon drawing. And I said, out loud, I still believe in you, Emily. Even if you don't believe in yourself. Even if you don't believe in me. I still believe in you. I said it to the wall. To the drawing. To the ghost of the little girl who had drawn it. And I meant it. But that didn't mean I was going to give her the money back. Because belief isn't the same as trust. And trust had to be Renette. She had broken my trust. She had shattered it. And I couldn't just give it back because I felt sorry for her. I had to see her in it. And I didn't know if she ever would. The next morning, I made a decision. I called her third. I want to change the Cholet ship. I want to name it something else. What do you want to call it? The Henderson Memorial Cholet ship. Not Emily Henderson. Just Henderson. For the family name. For the name I built. Arether paused. Are you sure, Robert? That's a big change. I'm sure. Emily doesn't want to be associated with my money. So I won't associate her with it. The Cholet ship will be in my name. In my family's name. The name Renette. All right. I'll make the changes. And Arether, one more thing. What's that? I want to be there for the Awa RD ceremony. I want to hand the checks to the students myself. I want to shake their hands. I want to look them in the eye and tell them I believe in them. That's a beautiful idea, Robert. It's not beautiful. It's necessary. I hung up. And ISTA route planning the ceremony that it would be in December. At the community college. In the main auditorium. There would be speeches. There would be applause. There would be TRS. And I would be there. Not as a father. But as a man who had done something hard and had come out the other side. A man who had lost something and found something else. A man who was still standing. Xinghao, Zhengwen Fanyi. Xinghao, Panjue Zai Zhou Shalatlat. 我坐在社区上给我安排的小办公室里，手机震动了，屏幕上闪着Asr的名字。接起来，说吧，他撤诉了，完全撤诉。他的律师提交了撤回动议，结束了。罗伯特，我靠会议背，头顶的荧光灯嗡嗡作响。我盯着桌上那堆申请信，一共有23封。23个年轻人写了关于他们的梦想、挣扎、父母和希望的文章，我每一篇都读了，其中3篇让我落了泪。他不再争了。不，他签了一份放弃所有资金主张的文件，冻结是永久的，钱是你的了。我沉默了很久。罗伯特，你还在吗？在，我说，我在。你还好吗？我不知道。我说，我不知道我好不好，我不知道我还会不会再好起来，但我还站着，这本身就不错。阿瑟沉默了一下，然后他说：“我为你骄傲，罗伯特，你做了正确的事。 不容易，但你做到了。谢谢你，阿瑟。照顾好自己。我做了个三明治，站着吃完了，尝不出味道。然后我走进客厅，在沙发上坐下。我看着那面墙，蜡笔画还在那儿，两个火柴人，褪色的太阳，没有窗户的房子。我盯着他，我想起了他画这幅画的那一天，那是个星期二，他才4岁。我刚从仓库回家，背疼得要命，手都裂了。因为有人打电话请病假，我坐了双班道，我累坏了，我很恼火，我随时会倒下。而他跑到门口，手里拿着一张纸，爸爸，爸爸，我画了这个送给你。我蹲下来，我抱起他，我看着那幅画，画得很乱，线条歪歪扭扭，颜色全不对，但那是我见过最美丽的东西。这是你，他指着那个高个子人影说。这是我，这是我们的房子，这是太阳。之所以一直是晴天，是因为你让我开心。我抱紧了他，紧紧抱住。我低声说：“我会永远让你开心，我保证。”我感到的是另一种东西，一种我说不出名字的东西，就像看着一张你曾经住过的地方的照片。你记得那些房间，你记得那种气味，你记得光线透过窗户的方式，但你知道你再也回不去了。不是真的回去，不是以曾经的方式。那天傍晚，我接到了塔尼亚·罗德里格斯的电话，第一位奖学金得主亨德森先生。我是塔尼亚。塔尼亚，你好吗？我很好，我真的很好。我打电话是想告诉你，我被教师项目录取了，我要成为一名老师了。太好了，塔尼亚，我真为你骄傲。我想再次谢谢你。我知道我已经说过了，但我还想再说一次，因为没有你，我不会在这里。没有你，我不会有这个机会。我向你保证，我会好好珍惜它。我会成为我能成为的最好的老师。我会帮助像我一样的孩子，那些不富裕的孩子，那些需要有人相信他们的孩子。我闭上眼睛，这就是我一直想要的，塔尼亚。有人好好利用我给出去的东西。我会的，亨德森先生，我保证。谢谢你，塔尼亚。不，该说谢谢的是我。我大声说，我仍然相信你，艾米丽。即使你不相信自己，即使你不相信我，我仍然相信你。我对墙壁说的，对那幅画说的，对这画下她的小女孩的幽灵说的，我是认真的，但那不意味着我会把钱还给她，因为信念和信任不是一回事，信任必须靠赢取。她辜负了我的信任，她把它打碎了，我不能因为可怜她就还回去。我必须看到他赢回来，而我不知道他会不会做到。第二天早上，我做了一个决定，我给阿瑟打了电话，我想改奖学金的名字，改个别的。你想叫什么？亨德森纪念奖学金，不是艾米丽·亨德森，只是亨德森，以家族的名义，以我挣来的这个名字的名义。阿瑟顿了一下，你确定吗，罗伯特？这是个大改动。我确定，艾米丽不想跟我的钱扯上关系，所以我也不会把她和她扯上关系。奖学金用我的名字，用我家人的名字， 我用汗水和努力挣来的名字。好的，我来改。还有，阿瑟，还有一件事。什么？我想参加颁奖典礼。我想亲手把支票交给那些学生。我想和他们握手。我想看着他们的眼睛，告诉他们我相信他们。这是个很棒的主意，罗伯特。不是棒，是必要。一个做了艰难的事并且挺过来了的男人，一个失去了某些东西但找到了另一些东西的男人，一个仍然站着的男人。The ceremony was set for the first Saturday in December. I spent the weeks leading up to it in a strange state of calm. Not peace, not joy, just a quiet acceptance that I had done what I needed to do. I went to the college every day. I sat in my small office and I read more applications. I met more students. I listened to their stories. I read their names. I remembered their faces. On the Wednesday before the ceremony, I got a call from a third, Robert. I have some news. What kind of news? Emily's lawyer called. She wants to come to the ceremony. I sat down. What? She's requesting an invitation. She says she wants to see what you've built. She says she wants to watch. Why? I don't know. But I thought you should know before you make any decisions. I leaned back in my chair. The fluorescent light hummed. I looked at the pile of applications on my desk. 23 stories. 23 dreams. 23 young people who had worked hard and read their place. Let her come. I said, are you sure? I'm sure. She wants to see what I've built. Let her see. Let her see everything. Arthur hesitated. Robert, are you doing this to hurt her? No, I said. I'm doing this because I'm done hiding. I'm done being ashamed of what I've done. I built something good. I built something that matters. And I want her to see it, even if she doesn't understand it. All right, I'll let her lawyer know. I hung up. And I sat there, in the quiet of my office, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Excitement. Not for revenge, not for drama, but for the simple act of showing up, of being present, of standing in front of people and saying, I did this. This is mine, and I'm proud of it. The morning of the ceremony, I woke up at 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. I put on my suit, the same one I had worn to Emily's graduation, the same one I had worn to the courthouse. It fit better now. I had lost more weight, but that was okay. I felt lean. I felt sharp. I felt ready. I drove to the college. The parking lot was empty. The sun wasn't up yet. I sat in my truck and watched the sky turn from black to gray to pale blue. And I thought about Emily. She would be here today. She would see everything. She would see the students. She would see the speeches. She would see me hand out the checks. She would see the plaque on the wall. She would see what I had done with the money she had rejected. And I didn't know how she would react. I didn't know if she would be angry, or sad, or indifferent. I didn't know if she would even see a But I knew one thing. I was done being afraid of her judgment. At 9 a.m., the auditorium st route filling up. Students, teachers, PA rents, community members. Dean Patterson was standing near the stage, adjusting his tie, looking nervous. He had read a speech. I had read it. It was good. It talked about second chances, about new beginnings, about the importance of education. I stood in the wings. I watched the crowd filter in. And then I saw her. Emily walked in through the side entrance. She was wearing a simple black dress. No jewelry, no makeup. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked older, thinner. Her face was pale. She sat in the back row, in the corner, where no one would notice her. I watched her for a long moment. She didn't look up. She didn't look around. She just sat there. STA ring at the stage. At 10 a.m., the ceremony began. Dean Patterson gave his speech. The audience clapped. Then it was my turn. I walked to the podium. The lights were bright. The microphone was cold against my fingers. I looked out at the crowd. There were at least 200 people. PA rents, grandpa rents, teachers, students. And Emily. I read my throat. Good morning, I said. My name is Robert Henderson, and I'm here today to give away money. A few people laughed. I smiled. 3 months ago, I was sitting in my living room, feeling sorry for myself. I had worked my whole life to provide for my daughter. I had given her everything I had. And then she told me it wasn't enough. She told me my money wasn't good enough. She told me I wasn't good enough. The room was silent. I could have been angry. I could have been bitter. I could have let that moment define the rest of my life. But instead, I made a choice. I chose to give that money to people who would appreciate it, people who would use it well, people who would CARRY it with them and turn it into something more. I looked at the students. They were seated in the front row. There were 5 of them now, the first round of recipients. Tanya was in the middle. She was crying. These young people didn't get here by accident. They worked. They sacrificed. They struggled. They didn't have trust funds. They didn't have rich parents. They had hope. They had determination. And they had the courage to ask for help. I paused. I'm not a rich man. I'm not a powerful man. I'm just a warehouse worker who spent his whole life lifting boxes and dreaming of a better future for his daughter. And when she rejected that future, I had to find another way to make it mean something. That's what I'm doing today. I looked at the students, at Tanya, at the others, at their TR-streaked faces. These 5 students are my future now. Not because they're replacing my daughter, because they're CARYing something she didn't want. They're CARYing the value of hard work, the value of sacrifice, the value of gratitude. And they're going to take that value, and they're going to do something amazing with it. I stepped away from the podium. And then I called them up, one by one. Tanya Rodriguez, Marcus Webb, Elena Vasquez, David Kim, S.A. Rachun. They walked across the stage. They shook my hand. They took their checks. They smiled. Some of them cried. All of them hugged me. I hugged them back. And I didn't think about Emily. I didn't look at her. I didn't wonder what she was feeling. I just focused on the students, on their faces, on their gratitude, on the future they were going to build. When the ceremony ended, people crowded around me. They shook my hand. They patted my back. They told me I had done something beautiful. I smiled. I nodded. I said thank you. And then I looked for Emily. She was still in the back row. She was standing now. Her arms were crossed. Her face was unreadable. I walked toward her. People moved out of my way. She looked at me. And she said, "That was a good speech. Thank you. You really meant it." I meant every word. She nodded slowly. I didn't come here to fight. I didn't come here to ask for anything. I just wanted to see what you built. And I have to admit, it's impressive. It's not impressive. It's just something I had to do. Dad, she stopped. Her voice cracked. What? She opened her mouth. She closed it. She looked away. I don't know how to say this, she said. Try. She looked back at me. Her eyes were wet. I saw the students. I saw their faces. I saw how grateful they were. And I saw how you looked at them. Like they were your children. They're not my children. They're just people who deserved a chance. That's what I don't understand. Why did they deserve a chance and I didn't? I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was my daughter. She had my eyes. She had my stubbornness. She had my pride. And she was broken. So broken. Emily, I said, they deserved a chance because they rented it. They worked for it. They didn't expect it. They didn't demand it. They asked for it. And they promised to use it well. You never did that. You just took. And then you told me it wasn't enough. She was quiet for a long time. I know, she finally said. I know I did that. And I know I can't fix it. I know I can't take it back. But I can change. I can RN. I can work. Work at what? She looked at the floor. I don't have a job. I don't have a CAR. I don't have a place to live. I'm staying with a friend. I have nothing. That's not true. You have yourself. She laughed. It was a hollow sound. That's what you said last time. And I didn't believe you. But I'm rooting to understand. Understand what? That you were right. I never worked for anything. I never rented anything. I just expected everything to be handed to me. And when it was, I didn't appreciate it. Because I didn't know what it cost. She took a step closer. I want to RN it now, she said. I want to prove to you that I can. Not for the money. Not for the CAR. Not for the house. But for me. For the person I used to be. The person I want to be again. I didn't answer. She waited. And then I said, then go prove it. Don't tell me. Show me. She nodded. She turned. She walked away. And I stood in the empty auditorium, looking at the stage where I had handed out 5 checks to 5 young people who had rented their place. And I thought about Emily. About what she had said. About what she hadn't said. About the possibility that maybe, just maybe, she could change. Xinghao, Zhongwen Fanyi. Xinghao, Banjiang De, Dingzai de Diger Zhou Li, Zaina Zhichanda Ji Zhou Li, Wuchuyu Yizhong Qi de Pingjing Zhangta, Bushu Anning, Bushu Shirat, Zhishu Yizhong Anjing de Jie Shou. 接受我已经做了该做的事。我每天都吃西安，我坐在那间小办公室里，读更多的申请书，我见了更多的学生，我听了他们的故事，我记住了他们的名字，我记住了他们的面孔。典礼前的那个周三，我接到了阿瑟的电话。罗伯特，我有消息。什么消息？艾米丽的律师打电话来了，他想来参加典礼。我坐了下来。什么？他在请求一张邀请函。他说他想看看你建立的东西。他说他想观摩。为什么？我不知道，但我觉得在你做任何决定之前，应该先知道这件事。我靠回椅背，荧光灯嗡嗡作响。我看着桌上那堆申请书，23个故事，23个梦想，23个努力奋斗，赢得了自己位置的人。让他来吧，我说。你确定？我确定。他想看看我建立的东西，那就让他看，让他看到一切。阿瑟犹豫了一下。罗伯特，你这样做是为了伤害他吗？不，我说，我这样做是因为我不想再躲藏了，我不想再为自己的所作所为感到羞耻。我建立了美好的东西，我建立了有意义的东西，我想让他看到，即使他不能理解。好吧，我会通知他的律师。我挂了电话，我坐在安静的办公室里，感受到了一种久违的感觉，兴奋，不是为了报复，不是为了戏剧性，只是为了站出来这个简单的行动，站在那里，在人们面前说，我做了这件事，这是我的，我为他骄傲。否定醒来，我睡不着，我的双手在颤抖，心跳在加速。
香港的时光参加跟你的一直再造一样，是反义词再造一样。现在这个发生了，有色一些，这个关系，然后你定啊，然后你定啊，然后你的准备好，在这个实验，先更更定，这样可以升起，这个很可以，看监工从黑色更黑色，这边的小色，而想在看你，这间混在这里，这个看一些，这个看的是生，这个看到这些句子，这个看到我分发这个，这个看到墙上键盘，这个看到在这里选奏等，都不知道这份的反应，都不知道这里争取，想过这是梦中心，不知道这份的建议，用这样坚持，不要再把这个看了，这个点开始证人。学生、老师、家长、社区议员、各地院长就在我的附近，找领单，现在来分几张，这个被一边引导，不过想很好，然后这样就会现开始教育重要性，在这次台，让你选路就进入，然后看到他可以力从上走进来，在这一线简单的黑色泥人，没有手势，没有包装，在头发先用马尾，这个来了，算了，等这方买，这个在最后一排等那里，没有个注意到这地方，这个采访份，这个抬头，这个四个张望，这个正面，
盯着舞台，上午10点，典礼开始了。帕特森院长发表了演讲。观众鼓掌，然后轮到我了。我走向讲台，灯光很亮，麦克风在我手指间冰凉。我看着台下的人群，至少有200人，父母、祖父母、老师、学生，还有艾米丽。我清了清嗓子，早上好，我说，我叫罗伯特·亨德森，今天我来这里是为了把钱送出去。几个人笑了，我微笑。3个月前，我坐在客厅里，自言自语，我这辈子都在努力供养我的女儿，我给了她我拥有的一切，然后她告诉我那不够，她告诉我我的钱不够好，她告诉我我不够好。房间一片寂静，我本可以生气，我本可以痛苦，我本可以让那个时刻定义我的余生，但相反，我做出了一个选择。我选择把这些钱给那些会感激他的人，那些会好好使用他的人，那些会把他带在身上，转化成更多东西的人。我看着那些学生，他们坐在第一排，现在有5个人了。第一批获得者，塔尼亚坐在中间，他在哭。这些年轻人不是偶然走到今天的，他们努力了，他们牺牲了，他们挣扎了。他们没有信托基金，他们没有富有的父母，他们有希望，他们有决心，他们有勇气寻求帮助。我停顿了一下，我不是富人，我不是有权势的人，我只是一个仓库工人，一辈子都在搬运箱子，梦想着为女儿创造更好的未来。 而当他拒绝了那个未来，我不得不找到另一种方式来让它有意义。这就是我今天在做的事情。我看着那些学生，看着塔尼亚，看着其他人，看着他们泪流满面的脸。这5个学生现在是我的未来，不是因为他们在取代我的女儿，而是因为他们承载着某种他不想要的东西。他们承载着努力工作的价值，牺牲的价值，感恩的价值。他们会带着这些价值去做一些了不起的事情。我从讲台后退了一步，然后我一个个叫他们上来：塔尼亚、罗德里格斯、马库斯、韦伯、埃琳娜、瓦斯克斯、大卫、金、莎拉、陈。他们走过舞台，他们跟我握手，他们接过支票，他们微笑。有些人哭了，所有人都拥抱了我，我也拥抱了他们。我没有想艾米丽，我没有看她，我没有想她在想什么，我只专注于那些学生，他们的脸，他们的感激，他们将要建立的未来。典礼结束后，人们围住了我，他们跟我握手，他们拍我的背，他们告诉我做了一件美好的事。我微笑，我点头，我说谢谢。然后我寻找艾米丽，她还在最后一排。她站起来了，双臂交叉，她的表情难以捉摸。我朝她走去，人们给我让路。她看着我，她说：“那篇演讲很好，谢谢。你说的是真心话，每个字都是。”她慢慢点了点头。我不是来吵架的，我不是来要任何东西的，我只是想看看你建立了什么。我得承认，这很了不起。不是了不起，只是我必须做的事。爸，他停住了，声音哽咽了。什么？他张开嘴，又闭上了。他移开视线，我不知道该怎么说。他说：“试试。”他回头看我，他的眼睛湿润了。我看到了那些学生，我看到了他们的表情，我看到了他们有多感恩，我也看到了你看他们的样子，就像他们是你的孩子。他们不是我的孩子，他们只是值得一次机会的人。这就是我不明白的地方，为什么他们值得机会，而我不值得？我看着她，真正的看她，她是我的女儿，她有我的眼睛，她有我的倔强，她有我的骄傲，而她碎了，碎得很彻底。艾米丽，我说，他们值得机会，因为他们赢得了她，他们为此努力了，他们没有期待她，他们没有要求她，他们请求了她，而且他们承诺会好好使用它。你从没那样做过，你只是索取，然后你告诉我那不够。他沉默了很长时间。我知道，他终于说，我知道我那样做了，我知道我无法弥补，我知道我收不回来，但我可以改变，我可以学习，我可以努力。努力做什么？他看着地板。我没有工作，我没有车，我没有住的地方，我住在一个朋友家，我什么都没有。那不是真的，你有你自己。他笑了，那是空洞的声音。你上次也是这么说的。我当时不相信，但我开始明白了。明白什么？明白你是对的。我从来没有为什么东西努力过，我从来没有赢得过什么。我只是期待一切都被递到我手上，而当他递过来时，我不珍惜，因为我不知道它的代价是什么。他走近了一步，我现在想赢得他。他说：“我想向你证明我可以，不是为了钱，不是为了车，不是为了房子，是为了我自己，为了曾经的那个我，为了那个我想重新成为的人。”我没有回答。他等着，然后我说：“那就去证明，别告诉我，给我看。”他走开了，我站在空荡荡的礼堂里，看着那个舞台，那个我刚刚把武装支炮递给妒忌围着的人的地方。我想着艾米丽，想着她说的话，想着她没说的话，想着那种可能性。也许，只是也许，她能改变。3 months passed. Winter melted into a wet, gray spring. The snow turned to slush, then to mud, then to green grass. I watched the world come back to life from my kitchen window, and I felt something stir in my chest that I hadn't felt in years, the patience that I hadn't heard from Emily. Not a call, not a text, not a letter. The silence was complete, and for the first time, I didn't fill it with anger or sadness. I just let it be. I kept busy. I went to the college twice a week. I met with the scholarship students. I checked on their grades. I asked about their lives. Tanya was thriving. Marcus was thinking about law school. Elena had STA route to tutoring program for local high school students. David was working part-time at a clinic while studying pre-med. S.A. Ra was writing poetry and publishing it in the school leader A magazine. They were all doing what I had hoped they would do. They were taking what I had given and turning it into something more. And I was proud of them, not because they were replacing Emily, but because they were proving that my faith had not been misplaced. That generosity could still mean something. That hard work still mattered. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon in April, I got a letter that it was handwritten. The envelope was plain. No return address. But I recognized the handwriting immediately. The same looping letters I had seen on birthday cards and school projects, and that letter I had found in the storage unit, Emily's handwriting. I opened it slowly. My hands were steady. My heart was calm. Dad. I'm writing this because I don't know how to say it in person. I've been working at a diner for the past 2 months. The one on Maple Street. Not the one where M.A. Rio works. The other one. NEA, or the bus station. I'm a waitress. I make minimum wage plus tips. I work the EARLY shift, 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. I've been doing it for 63 days. I wanted to tell you because I think you should know. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just telling you what I've been doing. It's hard road, really hard road. My feet hurt at the end of every shift. My back aches. My hands cracked from washing dishes. I've had customers scream at me for bringing coffee that wasn't hot enough. I've had people leave without tipping. I've had days when I wanted to quit, but I didn't, because I remembered what you said. I remembered that I had to EAR in it. I don't know if this makes any difference to you. I don't know if you still see but I wanted you to know that I'm trying. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be someone you could be proud of again. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to trust me. But I wanted you to know. Love. Emily. I read the letter 3 times, then I folded it and put it on the table. I made a cup of coffee. I sat down and looked out the window that the sun was shining. The birds were singing. The world was moving 4-way road, and I was sitting in my kitchen, holding a letter from my daughter, trying to figure out what to feel. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just sat there. And then I got up, walked to my truck, and drove to the diner on Maple Street. I parked across the street. I could see her through the window. She was wearing an apron. Her hair was tied back. She was ryeing a pot of coffee, moving from table to table, filling cups. She looked tired, but she looked focused. I watched her for 20 minutes. She didn't drop anything. She didn't argue with anyone. She just worked. Then I got out of my truck and walked across the street. The bell above the door chimed when I walked in. Emily turned around. Her face went white. Dad, can I sit down? She nodded. Yeah, of course. I sat in a booth or the window. She stood there, holding the coffee pot, looking like she didn't know what to do. Are you working right now? I asked. Yes. Yes, but I can take a break. No, you work. I'll wait. She hesitated. Then she nodded and went back to her tables. I sat there for an hour. I watched her work. I watched her smile at customers. I watched her clean up spills. I watched her talk to the COK through the serving window. I watched her count her tips at the end of her shift. She was good at it. Not because she was naturally talented, because she was trying. She was putting in the effort. When her shift ended, she walked over to my booth. She sat down across from me. You came? She said. I came. Why? I looked at her. She was thinner. Her face was pale. Her hands were red and chapped. But her eyes were clear. They were the eyes of someone who had been through something and come out the other side. I came because you wrote me a letter, I said. And I wanted to see for myself. See what? See if you were telling the truth. She nodded slowly. I was. Every word. I know. I watched you. She looked down at the table. What do you think? I think you're trying. And that's more than I expected. She looked up. Is that a good thing? It's a START. We sat there in silence. The diner was quiet. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows. I want to tell you something, she said. I'm listening. The day of the wedding, I was SCA red. I was SCA red because I knew I was making a mistake. I knew Brad wasn't right for me. I knew his family was using me. But I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know how to say no. So I just went along with it. And then I took it out on you. Because you were the only person who would still love me even if I was terrible. I was the only one you could hurt without losing everything. She nodded. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I sat back. Emily, I'm not going to pretend I'm not angry. I'm still angry. I'm angry about the things you said. I'm angry about the way you treated me. I'm angry that you made me feel like I wasn't enough. And I don't know if that anger will ever go away. I know. But I'm also proud of you. She looked up. What? I'm proud of you for getting a job. For sticking with it. For writing that letter. For doing all the things you're doing. It's not easy to admit you were wrong. It's not easy to START over. But you're doing it. She STA root to cry. Not loud sobs. Just quiet TRS running down her cheeks. She wiped them away with the back of her hand. Thank you, she said. That means more than you know. There's something else, I said. What? I want you to come to the college with me next week. I want you to meet the students. I want you to see what you missed out on. And I want you to tell them your story. My story, yes. The story of what happened. The story of what you lost. The story of what you're doing now to fix it. She shook her head. I can't do that. That's so embarrassing. That's exactly why you should do it. Because those students need to know that you can mess up. You can make terrible mistakes. You can lose everything. And you can still come back. She was quiet for a long time. Okay, she finally said. I'll do it. Good. We stood up. She walked me to the door. I don't know how to thank you, she said. You already did. You wrote that letter. You got that job. You showed up. That's how you thank me. She hugged me. It was brief and a little awkward road. But it was real. I walked to my truck. I looked back at her. She was standing in the doorway, wiping her eyes, smiling. And I thought about all the times I had wondered if she would ever come back. If she would ever Leah RN. If she would ever change. And I realized that it didn't matter if she changed. It only mattered that she was trying. Because that was what I had always wanted. Not perfection. Not gratitude. Not even love. Just the willingness to try.
先好，先好，整个翻译，先更真好，三个一个球，跟天文化等的潮湿灰暗之天，也变成水，变成理念，又变成一早，而错过求个天文看去这心中涌动着某种好几年的个更许内心，没有收到任意消息，没有电话，没有短信，没有信，沉默在这里。还可以次，怎么也用愤怒和悲伤去整晚他，我给他真的在文艺忙碌的每周去实验两次，整个那是整时间一生正面，我给他这成绩，整个这个生活，怎样进步很大，这次在考虑体验，让他本地方人生开一个辅导项目，大卫是人子兼职，同时准备逐一体验一科3个解释发在学校的文字杂志上，这都做了，我希望这做出，让我给东西，想造成了更多的东西，我也更骄傲，是因为他们的极大魅力，是因为他们证明了的信念，要负责地方，看看当领地，文艺工作很重要，然后这是一个周二上午，我收到一封信，是老写的，信封很普通，没有联系地址，让我立刻对这里理解。那些人在生命分啊，这个作业就不会理。在分析场见过人椅子，可以给自己刚刚拆开，我手很稳，而心很平静，心可把心好写这封信，因为可不知道怎当的地错。
我过去2个月一直在参干罢工，风速街上那家，不是马里尔工作的那家，另一家，靠近汽车站。我当分，我拿最低工资加小费，我上早班，凌晨放到下午2。
一个那个生产，先好才更会，因为我觉得肯定知道，都是哪样整东西的，都不是哪样整的，都不是这个练的。我只是这次就这是这种先好，心很难，心很难，每天上班找都层，这一层，希望是做对了。这客人也在负责送教法，整人负责这个，也是为了这个策略，让有趣的这个话，这种地区这一阵，先好不知道是对你生活还重要，不知道对生活和这个，让小朋友知道再努力变更好，再努力重新跟那个人交往里，先好各种挖跟人我，各种挖跟信任我，再想让你知道先好已经好，我也信任经验，然后体好，放个真好，不准对他飞，这个来，看窗外，人里面，这个上是更沉静，而我做的厨房里，从你拿着转而行，是因为接触开感受，你就哭，你没有笑，而你是正面，然后正来，这样好吃，这就只有风车街上天天晚，我把车停给经理，每次我中午看了他，这更有钱，走把山的方面，这个单影咖啡，这就是这个收3瓦币的，这更来分疲惫，更有灯柱，这看他20分钟，这想分任何东西，这跟任何人店长，
他只是在工作，然后我下了车，穿过街道。门上的铃铛在我走进去时响了。艾米丽转过身来，她的脸一下子白了。爸，我能坐一下吗？她点了点头，能，当然能。 我在靠窗的卡座坐下，他站在那里，端着咖啡壶，不知道该做什么。你现在在上班吗？我问。是的。我是说，是的，但我可以休息一下。不，你工作。我等。他犹豫了一下，然后点了点头，回到他的桌子那边。我在那里坐了1个小时，我看着他工作，我看着他对顾客微笑，我看着他清理洒出来的东西，我看着他通过传菜窗口和厨师说话，我看着他下班时数他的小费。他做得很好，不是因为他有天赋，而是因为他在努力，他在付出。他下班后走到我的卡座，他坐在我对面。你来了，他说。我来了。为什么？我看着他，他更瘦了，脸色苍白，双手又红又皴裂，但他的眼睛是清澈的，那是一双经历了某些事并且挺过来了的眼睛。因为你给我写了信，我说，我想亲眼看看。看什么？看你有没有说真话。他慢慢点了点头。我说的是真的，每个字都是。我知道。我看了你一会儿。他低头看着桌面。你觉得怎么样？我觉得你在努力，这比我期望的要多。他抬起头来。那是好事吗？是一个开始。我们静静地坐着，餐馆里很安静，午后的阳光透过窗户照进来。我想告诉你一些事。他说。我在听。婚礼那天，我很害怕。我害怕是因为我知道我在犯错误。我知道布拉德不适合我。我知道他家人利用了我，但我不知道怎么停下来。我不知道怎么说不，所以我只是随波逐流。然后我把气撒在你身上，因为你是唯一一个即使我很糟糕也还会爱我的人。我是唯一一个你伤害了不会失去一切的人。他点点头。是，那正是我做的。我靠回座位。艾米丽，我不会假装我不生气。我还生气。我气你说的话。我气你对我的态度。我气你让我觉得自己不够好。我不知道这种愤怒会不会消失。我知道，但我也为你骄傲。他抬起头。什么？我为你骄傲。你找了工作，你坚持下来了，你写了那封信，你做了一切你正在做的事。承认自己错了不容易，重新开始不容易，但你在做。他开始哭了，不是大声抽泣，只是安静的眼泪顺着脸颊滑落。他用手背擦掉。谢谢。他说，这比你知道的更重要。还有一件事。我说。什么？我想让你下周跟我去学院。我想让你见见那些学生。我想让你看看你错过了什么。我想让你把你的故事告诉他们。我的故事。是的。发生了什么的故事？你失去了什么的故事？你现在在做什么来弥补的故事？他摇摇头。我不能那样做，那太丢人了。那正是你应该做的原因。因为这些学生需要知道，你可以搞砸，你可以犯可怕的错误，你可以失去一切，而你仍然可以回来。他沉默了很久。好吧，他终于说，我去。好。我们站起来，他送我到门口。我不知道该怎么感谢你。他说，你已经感谢过了。你写了那封信，你找了那份工作，你出现了。那就是你感谢我的方式。他抱了我一下。当然而有点尴尬，但他是真实的。我走上卡车，我回头看他，他站在门口，擦着眼睛，微笑着。我想起了所有那些我问会不会回来的时刻。他会不会学到教训？他会不会改变？我意识到，他改不改变并不重要。重要的是他在努力，因为那一直是我想要的，不是完美，不是根，甚至不是爱，仅仅是努力去做的一样。The next week, Emily showed up at the college. I was standing in the lobby, looking at the plaque on the wall. The Henderson Memorial Cholet Reship. The names of the 5 recipients were engraved beneath it. Tanya, Marcus, Elena, David, S.A. Rada. She walked in through the front doors. She was wearing a simple blouse and jeans. Her hair was neat. Her face was clean. She looked nervous. Her hands were shaking. You came? I said I would. Are you ready? She looked at the plaque. She read the names. Then she looked at me. I don't know if I'm ready. But I'm here. I nodded. That's enough. I led her to the small conference room where the students were waiting. They were sitting around a table, talking quietly. When I opened the door, they looked up. Everyone, this is Emily. My daughter. They looked at her. Some of them recognized her name. Some of them knew the story. Tanya's face softened. She stood up and walked over. Hi, Tanya said. I'm Tanya. It's nice to meet you. Emily shook her hand. Her grip was weak. Her voice was quiet. Nice to meet you too. Sit down, I said. We're just having a conversation. Nothing formal. Emily sat at the table. The students looked at her. They didn't sta. They just waited. And then Emily sta root to talked. I don't know if you know my story, she said. But I'm the reason this shoal a reship exists. Not because I did something good. Because I did something bad. My dad gave me money. A lot of money. And I told him it wasn't enough. I told him he wasn't enough. I told him his life wasn't good enough for me. The room was silent. I was wrong. I was so wrong. And I've spent the last 6 months trying to understand why I said those things. Why I hurt him the way I did. She took a breath. I thought I needed more. I thought I needed better. I thought I needed to be part of something bigger. But I was wrong. What I needed was right in front of me. My father. His love. His sacrifice. And I threw it away. Tanya leaned four-way road. What made you realize that? Emily looked at her. I lost everything. My fiancé left me. His family disowned me. My friends stopped calling. I had nothing and no one. And when I hit rock bottom, I had to look at myself. I had to ask myself why I had pushed away the only person who ever really loved me. What did you find? Emily was quiet for a moment. I found a spoiled, selfish girl who had never worked for anything in her life. A girl who thought she was entitled to everything and grateful for nothing. A girl who didn't deserve the father she had. I watched her. Her voice was steady. Her eyes were wet. But she wasn't crying. She was telling the truth. I'm not saying that to make you feel sorry for me, she continued. I'm saying it because it's true. And I'm saying it because I want you to know that you can change. You can mess up. You can make terrible mistakes. You can hurt the people you love. And you can still come back from it. S.A. Rachun raised her hand. How? By working. By showing up. By proving with your actions that you've changed. Not with words. Words are cheap. Anyone can say sorry. But it takes real effort to show you mean it. How long does it take? Marcus asked. I don't know. I'm still working on it. I still don't know if my dad will ever fully trust me again. But I'm not giving up. I'm not going to stop trying. Because the alternative is losing him forever. And I can't live with that. She looked at me. I don't know if I'll ever be the daughter he deserved. But I want to try. That's all I can do. The students were quiet. Then David Kim spoke. Thank you for telling us that. It takes a lot of courage to say those things out loud. Emily nodded. It's not courage. It's just honesty. And I've been dishonest for too long. After the meeting, we walked out together. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. That was how Emily said, I know. But I'm glad I did it. Me too. She stopped walking. She turned to face me. Dad, I know I don't deserve your trust. I know I haven't earned it. But I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep trying. And one day, maybe, you'll be able to look at me and see someone you're proud of. I looked at her. At the daughter who had broken my heart. At the woman who was trying to put it back together. I already see that, I said. I see someone who's trying. And that's all I ever wanted. She hugged me. It was longer this time. Tighter. I felt her shake. I felt her cry. And I held her. Because she was still my daughter. And I was still her father. That night, I sat in my living room. The crayon drawing was still on the wall. The 2 stick figures. The faded sun. The house with no windows. I walked over to it. I touched it gently with my fingers. And I realized something, that the house didn't have windows because she had forgotten to draw them. But it didn't matter. The house was still there. The sun was still shining. And the 2 stick figures were still standing together. I left the drawing on the wall. Because some things don't need to be fixed, they just need to be remembered. Xinghao Xinghao, Zhongwen Fanyi. Xinghao Xinghao, Diarzhou. Ai Lai Dao Shi Yan. 我站在大厅里，看着墙上的纪念牌，亨德森纪念奖学金，下面刻着名和第二的名字，怎样？马友、安娜、大卫、萨拉。他从正门走进来，他穿着简单的衬衫和牛仔裤，头发整洁，脸庞干净，看起来很紧张，双手在颤抖。你来了，我说了我会来，准备好了吗？他看着那块纪念牌，他读着那些名字，然后他看着我。我不知道我是否准备好了，但我来了。我点了点头，那就够了。我领着他去了那间小会议室，学生们已经在等着了。他们围坐在一张桌子旁，轻声交谈。我打开门时，他们抬起头。大家，这位是艾米丽，我女儿。他们看着她，有些人认出了她的名字，有些人知道那个故事。塔尼亚的表情柔和下来，她站起来走了过去。嗨，塔尼亚说，我是塔尼亚，很高兴见到你。艾米丽和他握了握手，她的握力很轻，声音很小。我也很高兴见到你。坐下吧，我说，我们只是聊聊天，不用正式。艾米丽在桌旁坐下，学生们看着她，他们没有盯着看，他们只是等着。然后艾米丽开始说话，我不知道你们是否知道我的故事。她说，但这个奖学金存在的原因是我，不是因为做了什么好事，而是因为我做了坏事。我爸爸给了我钱，很多钱，而我告诉他那不够，我告诉他他不够，我告诉他他的生活不够好。房间里一片寂静，我错了，我大错特错。我花了6个月时间试图理解我为什么会说出那些话，为什么我会那样伤害他。他吸了一口气，我以为我需要更多，我以为我需要更好的，我以为我需要成为更大事物的一部分，但我错了。我需要的就在我眼前，我的父亲，他的爱，他的牺牲，而我把它扔掉了。塔尼亚向前倾身，是什么让你认识到这一点的？艾米丽看着他，我失去了一切。我的未婚夫离开了我，他的家人不认我了，我的朋友不再打电话了，我一无所有，没有一个人。当我跌到谷底时，我不得不审视自己，我不得不问自己，为什么推开了唯一真正爱过我的人？你发现了什么？艾米丽沉默了一会儿。我发现了一个被宠坏的、自私的女孩，一生中从未为什么东西努力过，一个以为自己有钱得到一切，对什么都不感激的女孩，一个不配拥有她父亲的女孩。我看着她，她的声音是平稳的，她的眼睛湿润了，但她没有哭，她在说真话。我说这些不是要让你们同情我，她继续说。我说这些是因为这是真的，而且我说这些是因为我想让你们知道，你们可以改变，你们可以搞砸，你们可以犯可怕的错误，你们可以伤害你爱的人，而你们仍然可以走出来。莎拉沉举起手，怎么走出来？通过努力，通过出现，通过用行动证明你已经改变了，不是用言语，言语是廉价的。谁都会说对不起，但要用真正的努力来表明你是认真的。需要多长时间？马库斯问。我不知道，我还在努力。我仍然不知道我爸爸是否会完全信任我，但我不会放弃，我不会停止努力，因为不这样做的后果就是永远失去他。我无法承受那种后果。我不知道我能不能成为他应得的那个女儿，但我想试试，那是我能做的全部。学生们都安静了，然后大卫金开口了：“谢谢你告诉我们这些。”大声说出来需要很大的勇气。艾米丽点点头，不是勇气，只是诚实，而我已经不诚实太久了。会后，我们一起走出去，太阳正在落山。天空是橙红色的，那很难。 艾米丽说：“我知道，但我很高兴我做了。我也是。”他停下脚步，他转过身来面对我。爸，我知道我不配得到你的信任，我知道我还没赢得他，但我会继续努力，我会继续出现，我会继续尝试。也许有一天，你看着我的时候，能看到一个让你骄傲的人。我看着他，看着那个伤透我心的女儿，看着那个正在努力把心拼回去的女人，我已经看到了。我说，我看到了一个在努力的人，那一直是我想要的。The summer came hot and heavy, the kind of heat that makes the pavement shimmer and the air feel thick as syrup. I spent most of my days at the college, helping with the summer program they had STA route for at-risk kids. It was a small thing, just a few hours a week, but it gave me something to do, something that mattered. Emily kept working at the diner. She had been there for 8 months now. She had stopped complaining about her feet and her back and her cracked hands. She just worked. And she came over for dinner every Sunday night that it became our ritual. I would say, "Oh, okay." She would bring dessert. We would sit at the kitchen table and talk. Not about the past, not about the money, just about life, about her customers, about my students, about the little things that made up our days that it wasn't perfect. There was still a distance between us, a CA reefulness, like walking on thin ice. Neither of us wanted to break it, but we were trying. Then, in July, something happened. I got a call from Dean Patterson. "Robert, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "One of the scholarship students, Americus Webb. He's been arrested." I sat down. Arrested for what? Shoplifting. At the grocery store. NEA are his APA meant. He was caught taking food. He didn't have enough money to pay for it. They're holding him at the county jail. I stood up. "I'll be there in an hour." I drove to the jail. I called Arthur on the way. He said he would meet me there. Americus was sitting in a holding cell. His face was bruised. His lip was split. He looked like he had been in a fight. "Americus," I said. "What happened?" He didn't look at me. I was hungry. I didn't have any money. My job cut my hours. I had to eat. So I took some bread and some peanut butter. They caught me. They called the cops. And then some guy in the cell STA route talking trash. So I hit him. "Americus, that's not who you are." He laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. "You don't know who I am. You don't know anything about me. You just gave me money and thought that would fix everything. It doesn't fix anything. I'm still poor. I'm still hungry. I'm still stuck." I looked at him. I had seen this before. I had seen it in Emily. The anger, the shame, the fear of being seen as nothing. "Americus," I said. "I know you're hurting. I know you're SCA red. But this isn't the way out. This is the way down. And I'm not going to let you go down." He looked at me. His eyes were red. "What do you see, A? "I see, A, because I've been where you are. I've been hungry. I've been desperate. I've been angry. And I know what it feels like to think no one gives a damn. But I'm here. I'm standing here. And I'm not leaving." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I messed up. I'm sorry I disappointed you." "You didn't disappoint me. You made a mistake. That's different." He looked at me. "You really think so?" "I know so." We posted bail. I drove him back to his APA remit. He had nothing. No food. No furniture. Just a mattress on the floor and a pile of clothes. "Stay here," I said. "I'll be back." I drove to the grocery store. I bought 2 bags of food. I brought them back to his APA remit. I put them on the counter. "This isn't charity," I said. "This is an investment. You're going to pay me back. Not in money. In work. I'm going to get you more hours at the college. You're going to work for it. And you're going to EAR in it." Americus looked at the bags of food. Then he looked at me. "Thank you," he said. I don't know how to thank you. You just did. When you put food in your mouth and you remember that someone helped you, and then you help someone else." He nodded. "I will. I promise." That night, I sat in my living room. The crayon drawing was still on the wall. The 2 stick figures. The faded sun. And I thought about what had happened with Americus. About how easy it was to fall. How easy it was to make a mistake. How easy it was to lose hope. And I thought about Emily. About how close she had come to falling. How close she had come to losing everything. And how she had climbed back up. I called her. "Dad, hey, I need to tell you something." "What?" "I had a moment today. With one of the scholarship students. He made a mistake. A bad one. And I had to decide whether to turn my back or help him. And I helped him. That's not surprising. You always help people. I didn't always help you. She was quiet. When you were growing up, I thought I was helping you by giving you everything. But I wasn't helping you. I was hurting you. I was making you weak. I was making you dependent. And I didn't realize it until it was too late. Dad, let me finish. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. I'm saying it because I understand now. I understand that love isn't about giving people what they want. It's about giving them what they need. And sometimes what they need is to fall, so they can learn how to get back up. She was quiet for a long time, then she said, You're not angry at Americus. No. I'm disappointed. But I'm not angry. Because disappointment is just love that's been tested. And love that's tested gets stronger. Did you ever feel that way about me? I paused. Yes, I said. Every single day? But I never stopped loving you. Not once. Not even when I thought I had. She was quiet again. Then I heard her voice cracked. Thank you, Dad. For not giving up on me. I never did. And I never will. We hung up. And I sat in the dark, looking at the crayon drawing, thinking about all the ways love can break you, and all the ways it can put you back together. 星号中文翻译，星号，夏天来的又热又重，那种让路面发烫，空气浓稠的像糖浆的炎热。我大部分时间都在学业，帮助他们在开展的针对高危青少年的暑期项目。那不是什么大事，每周只有几个小时，但给了我一些事做，一些有意义的事。艾米丽继续在餐馆工作，她已经在那里干了8个月了。她不再抱怨脚疼、背疼和手裂了，她只是工作，而且她每周日晚上都来吃晚饭，这成了我们的仪式。我做菜，她带甜点，我们坐在厨房餐桌前聊天，不聊过去，不聊钱，只聊生活，聊他的顾客，聊我的学生，聊构成我们日子的那些小事。它并不完美，我们之间仍然有距离，一种小心翼翼，像走在薄冰上，我们都不想打破它，但我们在努力。然后，在7月发生了一件事，我接到了帕特森院长的电话。罗伯特，我们有个问题。什么问题？一个奖学金学生马库斯·韦伯，他被捕了。我坐了下来。以什么罪名？偷窃，在离他公寓不远的杂货店。他偷食物时被抓住了。他没钱付，他们把他关在县监狱了。我站起来，我1小时后到。我开车去了监狱，我路上给阿瑟打了电话，他说他会到那里和我碰面。马库斯坐在拘留室里，他的脸青肿了，嘴唇破了，看起来像打过架。马库斯，我说，发生了什么？他没有看我，我饿了，我没钱，我的工时被削减了，我得吃东西，所以我拿了些面包和花生酱。他们抓了我。他们叫了警察，然后牢里有个家伙开始说垃圾话，所以我打了他。马库斯，那不是你的为人。他笑了，那是一种苦涩、破碎的声音。你不知道我是谁，你对我一无所知，你只是给我钱，然后以为那能解决一切，那解决不了任何问题。我还是穷，我还是饿，我还是困在这里。我看着他，我以前见过这种样子，我在艾米丽身上见过愤怒、羞耻、害怕被看作什么都不是。马库斯，我说，我知道你很难受，我知道你很害怕，但这不是出路，这是往下走的路，我不会让你往下掉。他看着我，他的眼睛是红的。你凭什么在乎？我在乎。因为我到过你现在的地方，我饿过，我绝望过，我愤怒过，我知道觉得没人在乎你是什么感觉，但我在这里，我站在这里，我不会走。他沉默了很久，然后他说，对不起，我很抱歉我搞砸了，很抱歉我让你失望了。你没有让我失望，你犯了个错，那不一样。他看着我，你真的这么认为？我知道是真的。我们交了保释金，我开车送他回公寓。他一无所有，没有食物，没有家具，只有地板上的一张床垫和一堆衣服。待在这儿，我说，我马上回来。我开车去了杂货店，我买了2袋食物，我带回了他的公寓。我把食物放在台面上，这不是施舍。我说， 这是投资，你得还给我，不是钱，是工作。我会让你在学院多排些班，你得为他工作，你得赢得他。然后他看着我，谢谢你。他说，我不知道该怎么谢谢你。你已经谢了。当你把食物放进嘴里，记着有人帮了你，然后你去帮别人。他点头，我会的，我保证。那天晚上，我坐在客厅里，那幅蜡笔画还在墙上，两个火柴人，褪色的太阳。我想着马库斯发生的事，想着摔倒有多容易，犯错有多容易，失去希望有多容易。我想着艾米丽，想着她曾经多么接近摔下去，多么接近失去一切，而她怎么爬回来了。我打电话给她，爸，嘿，我要告诉你一件事。什么？我今天经历了一个时刻，和一个奖学金学生，他犯了个错，一个严重的错。我不得不决定是转身走开还是帮他。我帮了他，那不奇怪，你总是帮人。我并不是总在帮你。他沉默了。你长大的时候，我以为给你一切就是帮你，但我不是在帮你，我在伤害你，我在让你软弱，我在让你依赖。我意识到的时候已经太晚了。爸，让我说完。我说这些不是要让你难受，我说这些是因为我现在明白了。我明白了，爱不是给人他们想要的，而是给他们需要的。有时候他们需要的是摔一跤，这样他们才能学会怎么爬起来。他沉默了很久，然后他说：“你不生马库斯的气吗？”不，我失望，但我不生气，因为失望只是被考验过的爱，而被考验过的爱会变得更强。你对我有过那种感觉吗？我停顿了一下，有，我说，每一天都是，但我从未停止爱你，一次都没有，即使在我以为自己已经停了的时候。他又沉默了，然后我听到他的声音哽咽了。谢谢你，爸，谢谢你没有放弃我。我从来没有，我也永远不会。The fall arrived with a crispness that felt like a clean slate. The leaves turned gold and red. The air smelled like wood smoke and apples. I had been waking up at dawn every morning, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. There was something about the light that felt different now, softer, like it was telling me to pay attention that Mediocrity had turned things around. After his arrest, I had sat with him for hours, not lecturing, just listening. He told me about his mother, who had died when he was 12. His father, who had walked out when he was 8. The foster homes. The hunger. The shame. I listened to all of it. And then I told him something I had never told anyone. I grew up without a father too. Mine left when I was 6. My mother worked 3 jobs. I was hungry more often than I was full. And I made a promise to myself that I would never let my children feel that way. That's why I worked so hard. That's why I gave Emily everything. Because I wanted to break the cycle. Americus looked at me. Did you break it? I thought I did. But I just created a different kind of broken. Emily never Leah Rened to struggle. She never Leah Rened to fight. So when life got hard, she didn't know what to do. She just collapsed. And now I looked at the window. The leaves were falling. Now she's Leah Renning. And that's all any of us can do. Leah RN try? Fail. Try again. Americus nodded. I want to be like that. I want a Leah RN. Then START now. He did. He took extra shifts at the college. He STA route tutoring younger students. He came to me when he was struggling, not when it was too late. And I watched him grow. On a Friday afternoon in October, Emily called me. She sounded different. Lighter. Dad, I got a promotion. A promotion. I'm the head waitress now. I train the new staff. I handle the schedules. I make more money. Not a lot, but enough. Emily, that's wonderful. It's not wonderful. It's just work. But it's my work. And IEA rented it. I smiled. Yes, you did. I was thinking, she said. There's something I want to do. Something I need to do. And I want you to be there. What is it? I want to visit Mom. I want to see her. Just once. Just to close that door. And I want you to come with me. I was quiet for a long moment. Are you sure about that? I'm not sure about anything. But I know I can't keep running from it. She's still my mother. Even if she left. Even if she chose someone else. I need to see her. I need to say something to her. And I need you there. I thought about Linda. About the divorce. About the years of silence. About the anger that had festered like an old wound. Okay, I said. I'll go with you. The drive to Linda's house took 3 hours. She lived in a small town NEA, or the coast. The house was modest. A white cottage with a blue door and a garden full of wildflowers. Emily was quiet the whole way. She read out the window. Her hands were folded in her lap. She didn't fidget. She didn't speak. She just watched the world go by. When we pulled into the driveway, Linda was standing on the porch. She looked older. Her hair was gray. Her face was lined. But her eyes were the same. Sharp, calculating. Always measuring. Emily, she said. You came. I said I would. Linda looked at me. Robert, it's been a long time. 12 years. I said, I know. We walked inside. The house was clean. Spa RSE. There were no family photos on the walls. No signs of a life lived. Linda made tea. We sat in the living room. The silence was thick and Aquay Road. Why are you here? Linda finally asked. Emily looked at her. Because I needed to see you. I needed to understand. Understand what? Understand why you left. Understand why you chose him over us. Understand why you never looked back. Linda was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I was young. I was selfish. I thought I could have a better life. I thought I deserved more. And I was wrong. Wrong about what? Wrong about everything. I thought leaving would make me happy. But it didn't. I spent the last 12 years alone. He left me too. 5 years ago. Found someone younger. Someone prettier. Someone who didn't remind him of his mistakes. Emily shook her head. I don't feel sorry for you. I didn't ask you to. But I don't hate you either. I used to. I used to hate you for leaving. For not being there. For making Dad do everything alone. But I don't hate you anymore. I just don't need you. Linda looked down at her hands. That's fair. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to say goodbye. Not in a dramatic way. Just in a real way. I'm closing this door. I'm moving 4-way road. And I wanted you to know that. Linda nodded slowly. I understand. Emily stood up. She walked to the door. She paused. Then she turned back to, one more thing, she said. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it. But because I need to. I need to let go of the anger. It's been weighing me down for too long. Linda's eyes filled with tears. She didn't say anything. She just nodded. Emily walked out. I followed her. We got in the truck. She root crying. Not loud sobs. Just quiet tears. I didn't think I would feel anything, she said. But I felt something. What did you feel? Peace. Not happiness. Not forgiveness exactly. Just peace. That's a good start. She looked at me. Thank you for coming with me. I couldn't have done it alone. You didn't have to. I'm here. We drove home in silence. But it wasn't a heavy silence. It was a red one. The kind that comes when you've been through something together and come out the other side. 幸好中文翻译幸好秋天带着一种仿佛崭新开始般的清爽到来了树叶变成了金色和红色空气中弥漫着木材和苹果的气息我每天黎明时分醒来不是因为必须而是因为我想那光线里有什么东西现在感觉不一样了更柔和像是在告诉我流行马克已经扭转了 demand 他背部后我陪他做了几个小时不说教只是倾听他告诉我他父亲的事他在他12岁时去世了他父亲在他8岁时就离开了那些寄养家庭饥饿羞耻我听了全部然后我告诉了他一些我从没告诉过任何人的事我也是在没有父亲的情况下长大的我父亲在我6岁时离开了我母亲打3份工我喝的次数比吃饱的次数多我对自己发誓我永远不会让我的孩子有那种感觉那就是为什么我那么努力那就是为什么我给了艾米丽一切因为我想打破那个循环马库斯看着我你打破了吗我以为我打破了但我只是创造了另一种破碎艾米丽从未学会挣扎她从未学会奋斗所以当生活变难时 他不知道该怎么办，他只是崩溃了。那现在呢？我看着窗外，叶子正在落下。现在他在学习，那是我们所有人能做的全部。学习，尝试，失败，再尝试。马库斯点了点头。我想成为那样，我想学习。那就从现在开始。他做到了。他在学院多加了几班，他开始辅导更年轻的学生。他在还有救的时候来找我，而不是为时已晚的时候。我看着他成长。10月的一个周五下午，艾米丽打电话给我，她的声音听起来不一样了，更轻松。爸，我升职了。升职？我现在是领班服务员了。我培训新员工，我安排班次，我赚的更多了。不多，但够了。艾米丽，那太好了。不是什么了不起的事，只是工作，但那是我的工作，而且是我挣来的。我微笑，是的，是你挣来的。我在想，他说，有件事我想做，一件我需要做的事，我希望你在那里。什么事？我想去见妈妈，我想见她，就一次，只是为了关上那扇门。我想你陪我去。我沉默了很长时间。你确定吗？我什么都不确定，但我知道我不能一直逃避她。她仍然是我母亲，即使她离开了，即使她选择了别人。我需要见她，我需要跟她说些话，我需要你在那里。我想着琳达，想着离婚，想着那几年的沉默，想着像旧伤一样溃烂的愤怒。好吧，我说，我陪你去。开车去琳达家要3个小时。她住在海边附近的一个小镇上，房子不大，一栋白色的小屋，蓝色的门，花园里种满了野花。艾米丽一路都很安静，她凝视着窗外，她的双手叠放在膝盖上，她没有坐立不安，她没有说话，她只是看着世界掠过。当我们驶入车道时，琳达站在门廊上，她看起来老了，头发灰白了，脸上有了皱纹，但她的眼睛是一样的，锐利、算计，总是在衡量着什么。艾米丽，她说，你来了。我说了我会来。琳达看着我，罗伯特，好久不见。12年了。我说，我知道。我们走了进去，房子很整洁，空旷，墙上没有家庭照片，没有生活的痕迹。琳达泡了茶，我们坐在客厅里，沉默浓稠而尴尬。你为什么来？琳达终于问。艾米丽看着他，因为我需要见你，我需要理解。理解什么？理解你为什么离开，理解你为什么选择他而不是我们，理解你为什么从不回头。琳达沉默了很长时间，然后她说，我那时年轻，我自私，我以为我可以有更好的生活，我以为我值得更多，而我错了。错在哪里？错在所有事。我以为离开会让我幸福，但他没有。我过去12年是独自度过的，他也离开了我，你知道吗？5年前，找了个更年轻的、更漂亮的，一个不会让他想起自己错误的人。艾米丽摇了摇头，我并不同情你，我没有要你同情，但我也不恨你。我曾经恨过，我曾经恨你离开，恨你不在那里，恨让爸一个人承担所有。但我不再恨你了，我只是不需要你。琳达低头看着自己的手，那很公平。我不是来吵架的，我是来说再见的，不是戏剧性的那种，只是真实的那种。我要关上这扇门了，我再向前走，我想让你知道这件事。琳达慢慢点了点头，我明白了。艾米丽站起来，她走到门口，她停了一下，然后她转过身。还有一件事，她说，我原谅你，不是因为你值得，而是因为我需要。我需要放下愤怒，它压在我身上太久了。琳达的眼睛里涌出了泪水，她什么也没说，只是点了点头。 艾米丽走了出去，我跟在她后面。我们上了卡车，她开始哭了，不是大声抽泣，只是安静的眼泪。我以为我不会有什么感觉，她说，但我感觉到了。什么感觉？平静，不是幸福，不完全是原谅，只是平静。那是个好的开始。她看着我，谢谢你陪我一起来，我一个人做不到。你不用一个人，我在这里。The winter came again. The snow fell thick and white, covering the world in a blanket of silence. I stood at my kitchen window, watching the flakes drift down, and I thought about how much had changed in 1 year. A year ago. I was sitting in this same kitchen, sta ring at the same window, feeling like my heart had been ripped out. A year ago, I was alone. A year ago, I had given my daughter everything and she had thrown it back at me. Now, she was coming over for Christmas dinner. She had been working at the diner for over a year. She had saved enough money to rent a small APA mint of her own. She had bought a used car with cash. She was paying her own bills. She was standing on her own 2 feet. And she was coming home for Christmas. I spent the morning cooking. The turkey, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, the green beans, the cranberry sauce, the same recipes my mother had used, the same ones I had cooked for Emily every Christmas of her childhood. She arrived at noon. She was rying a pie. Apple. My favorite. Dad, she said. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, sweet art. She hugged me. It was real. No hesitation. We sat down at the table. The same table where she had done her homework. The same table where she had opened presents. The same table where she had told me she didn't want my money. We ate. We talked. We laughed. It wasn't forced. It wasn't awkward road. It was just two people, sharing a meal, being grateful for the small things. After dinner, we sat in the living room. The crayon drawing was still on the wall. The 2 stick figures. The faded sun. The house with no windows. Emily looked at it. She had looked at it every time she came over. But this time, she sta read longered. I was so small when I drew that, she said, for years old. I don't remember drawing it. But I remember the feeling. I remember being happy. I remember thinking you were the best dad in the whole world. I didn't say anything. She stood up. She walked over to the drawing. She touched it gently with her fingers. I want to draw a new one, she said. I want to draw one now. With you and me. But this time, I want to draw it right. I want to draw windows. I want to draw a door. I want to draw a house that's open. A house where people can come and go. A house that's not closed off. She turned to look at me. Her eyes were wet. Can I do that? Dad, can I draw a new picture? I felt something break inside me. But it wasn't the bad kind of break. It was the kind that happens when something hard and frozen finally melts. Yeah, I said. I think that's a good idea. She found paper and markers. She sat on the floor, just like she had as a little girl. She drew. She drew a house. A big one. With windows. With a door. She drew a sun, bright and yellow. She drew 2 stick figures. One tall, one not as tall. She wrote at the bottom, me and Dad. 2026, she held it up. What do you think? I looked at it. It was just a drawing. A simple drawing with crooked lines and mismatched colors. But it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I think it's perfect, I said as she walked over and taped it to the wall, right next to the old one. Now there were 2 drawings. The old one, faded and worn, from a little girl who loved her father without question. And the new one, bright and hopeful, from a woman who had Ned to love him again. That we sat on the couch. The snow was falling outside. The world was quiet. Dad, she said. I want to tell you something. What? I know we can't go back. I know we can't undo what happened. But I want you to know that I understand now. I understand what you gave up. I understand what you sacrificed. And I am so sorry that I didn't see it before. I put my hand on hers. I know, sweet art. I know. But I also want you to know that I'm not just sorry. I'm grateful. I'm grateful you didn't give up on me. I'm grateful you stayed. I'm grateful you kept the door open, even when I slammed it in your face. I never closed it. I just had to wait for you to walk through. She leaned her head on my shoulder. We sat there in the quiet, watching the snow fall. And I thought about everything we had been through. The anger, the hurt, the silence, the long months of separation. But I also thought about the healing, the work, the effort, the small moments that had slowly brought us back together. That it wasn't a fairy tale. There were no magic fixes, no perfect ending where everything was erased and we stay root over dot. But there was something better. There was the truth that love is not a feeling. It's a choice you make every single day, a choice to keep showing up, a choice to keep trying, a choice to believe that even the broken things can be rebuilt. Emily stood up. She walked to the window. The snow was still falling. Dad, she said, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever be the person you wanted me to be. But I know one thing. I will never stop trying. I will never stop working. I will never stop showing up. Because you taught me that's what love is. Love is showing up, even when it's hard road. Especially when it's hard road. I stood up. I walked to the window and stood beside her. You know what, Ilea Rened? I said. What? Ilea Rened, that I was wrong too. I thought love was about giving everything. I thought love was about sacrifice. And it is. But it's also about letting go. Letting go of the idea that you can control someone's choices. Letting go of the idea that you can fix someone. All you can do is love them. And trust that they'll find their own way. She turned to look at me. Did you trust me? She asked. Not at first. But I do now. She smiled. It was a real smile. The kind I hadn't seen in years. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Emily. We stood there, watching the snow fall. The two drawings on the wall behind us. The old one and the new one. Both of them had a sun. Both of them had two figures. But the new one had windows. The new one had a door. The new one was open. Because that's what healing is. Not forgetting the past. Not erasing the pain. But letting the light in. Letting the love in. And leaving the door open for the future. I put my arm around her shoulder. She leaned into me. And I thought about the day she had drawn the first picture. The little girl who had said, "This is our house, Daddy. And this is the sun. And it's always sunny because you make me happy." That little girl was still inside her somewhere. Lost for a while. But not gone forever. Because love doesn't disappear. It just waits. It waits for you to remember. It waits for you to choose it again. And when you do, it's still there, just like the sun. Always rising. Always shining. Always warm. The snow continued to fall. The house was warm. The pie was half eaten. The drawings were on the wall. And I was sitting there, next to my daughter, not thinking about the money. Not thinking about the fight. Not thinking about the past, just thinking about how good it was to be here. How good it was to be together. How good it was to be home. And that was enough. That was everything. Asterisk. The Yendi Xinghao. Xinghao. 中文翻译 Xinghao. 冬天又来了。大雪厚厚地落下。绝不下。把世界覆盖在一层寂静之中。我站在厨房窗前，看着雪瓦抛落，想着一年之间发生了多大的变化。1年前，我坐在这层一个厨房里，盯着同一扇窗户，感觉心被掏空了。1年前，我孤身一人。1年前，我把一切都给了女儿，而她把一切都砸回了我脸上。现在，她要来吃圣诞晚餐了。她在餐馆工作了1年多，她攒了足够的钱，自己租了一间小公寓。她用现金买了一辆二手车，她自己在付账单。她靠自己的双腿站了起来，而她要回家过圣诞节了。我花了一整个上午做饭，火鸡、甜料、土豆泥、青豆、蔓越莓酱，用我母亲用过的那些食谱。我童年时每个圣诞节为艾米丽做的那些。她中午到了，她带了一个派，苹果的，我最爱的。爸，她说，圣诞快乐，圣诞快乐，亲爱的。她拥抱了我，温暖，真实，没有犹豫。我们在餐桌旁坐下，同一张她做过作业的桌子，同一张她拆过礼物的桌子，同一张她告诉我她不想要我的钱的桌子。我们吃了饭，我们聊了天，我们笑了，不是勉强的那种，不是尴尬的那种，只是2个人一起吃饭，感激那些小事。晚饭后，我们坐在客厅里，那幅蜡笔画还在墙上，2个火柴人，褪色的太阳，没有窗户的房子。艾米丽看着他，他每次来都会看他，但这一次，他凝视了更久。我画这个的时候好小。他说4岁，我不记得画他了，但我记得那种感觉，我记得我很开心， 我记得我以为你是全世界最好的爸爸。我没有说话，他站起来，他走到那幅画前，他用手指轻轻触摸它。我想画一幅新的，他说，我想现在画一幅，画你和我，但这一次，我想画对，我想画窗户，我想画一扇门，我想画一栋敞开的房子，一扇可以让人进出自由的房子，一栋不再紧闭的房子。他转身看着我，他的眼睛湿了。我能画吗，爸？我能画一幅新的画吗？我感觉心里有什么东西碎了，但不是那种坏的碎法，是那种当某种坚硬冰冷的东西终于融化时发生的碎法。可以，我说，我觉得那是个好主意。他找到了纸和马克笔，他坐在地板上，就像他小时候那样，他画了一栋房子，一栋大的，有窗户，有一扇门。他画了一个太阳，明亮而金黄。他画了2个火柴人，一个高的，一个不那么高的。他在底部写上我和爸2026年。他举起来给我看，你觉得怎么样？我看着他，只是一幅画，一幅线条歪歪扭扭，颜色不搭调的简单画作，但那是这辈子我见过的最美的东西。我觉得它很完美。我说，他走过去，把它贴在了墙上，就在那幅旧的旁边。现在墙上有2幅画了，旧的，褪色磨损的，出自一个毫无疑问的爱着父亲的小女孩之手，还有新的，明亮而充满希望，出自一个学会了再次爱她的女人之手。我们坐在沙发上，外面下着雪，世界很安静。爸，他说，我想告诉你一件事。什么？我知道我们回不去了，我知道我们不能抹去发生过的一切，但我想让你知道，我现在明白了。我明白你放弃了什么，我明白你牺牲了什么。我真的很抱歉，我以前没有看到这些。我把手放在他的手上，我知道，亲爱的，我知道，但我也想让你知道，我不只是抱歉，我很感激。我感激你没有放弃我，我感激你留下来了，我感激你一直留着那扇门开着，即使我把它塞在你脸上。我从来没有关过它，我只是需要等你走进来。他把头靠在我的肩膀上，我们就那样静静地坐着，看着雪飘落。我想着我们经历的一切，愤怒、伤害、沉默，那漫长的分离的几个月。但我也想到了疗愈、努力、付出，那些慢慢的把我们重新拉近的小小瞬间。那不是童话，没有神奇的修复，没有完美的结局，一切被抹去，然后重新开始。但有更好的东西，有真相。真相是，爱不是一种感觉，它是一个选择，一个你每天都做的选择，一个坚持出现的选择，一个坚持努力的选择，一个相信即使破碎的东西也能被重建的选择。艾米丽站起来，她走到窗边，雪还在下。爸，她说，我不知道未来会怎样，我不知道我能不能成为你想要我成为的那个人，但我知道一件事，我永远不会停止努力，我永远不会停止工作，我永远不会停止出现，因为你教会了我，那就是爱。爱就是出现，即使很难，尤其是很难的时候。我站起来，我走到窗边，站在他身旁。你知道我学到了什么吗？我说，什么？我学到了，我也错了。我以为爱就是付出一切，我以为爱就是牺牲。爱确实是，但它也是放手，放下你能控制别人选择的念头，放下你能修复别人的念头。你能做的只有去爱他们，然后相信他们会找到自己的路。他转身看着我，你信任我吗？他问。一开始不信任，但我现在信任了。那种我好多年没见过的笑容。谢谢你，爸。谢谢你，艾米丽。我们站在那儿，看着雪飘落，身后的墙上有2幅画， 旧的那幅和新的那幅，两幅都有太阳，两幅都有两个人影，但新的那幅有窗户，新的那幅有一扇门，新的那幅是敞开的，因为这就是疗愈，不是忘记过去，不是抹去痛苦，而是让光照进来，让爱进来，为未来留着一扇敞开的门。我搂住他的肩膀，他靠向我，我想着他画第一幅画的那一天，那个说，这是我们的房子，爸爸，这是太阳，它会一直晴天，因为你让我开心的小女孩，那个小女孩还在她体内的某个地方迷失了一段时间，但不是永远消失了，因为爱不会消失，它只是等待，它等着你记起来，它等着你再次选择它。当你这样做的时候，它还在那里，就像太阳，永远在升起，永远在照耀，永远温暖。雪还在下，屋里很暖和，派吃了一半，画在墙上，而我坐在那里，挨着我的女儿，不再想那些钱，不再想那场争吵，不再想过去，只是想着能在这里有多好，能在一起有多好，能回家有多好，那已经足够了。那就是全部。星号星号前文完，星号星号。